What's going on, guys? Big Mike, what's up, brother?
What's up, my guy and Little Ant for our Big Mike and Little Ant show. This week it is on Loki episode 5 and of course the epic finale episode 6, man. How are you this morning, brother?
I'm good, man. I got up a little late because I was up late, and so I was well rested, and then played a little bit of video games. You know, my favorite game, Marvel Avengers. I was leveling up Thor, so that was cool. Okay. And now I'm here with you, brother. Look, I feel like let's see if you catch this movie. Yesterday I was sleeping under a bridge, and today I'm here with you, fine people. What movie that's from?
Sleeping under a bridge.
And today I'm here with you, fine people.
You got me, man.
Because that's how I feel. You know, yesterday it is what it is, but today I'm with Big Mike.
What movie was it though?
Titanic. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh,
yeah. You remember that?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me, bro.
Yeah, man. But dude, you ready to get this thing going? You want to announce our guest?
Yeah, I'm just setting up so I can see the live as well, so we talk about the comments. But yeah, we got, all
right, hold on. Mike, come on, man. You got Mike, you gotta doll this thing up, man. We got one man.
Do it, man.
Listen, let me handle this real quick. Listen, the guy who takes a note for every single Marvel movie and write down notes so he will not have anything fly by him is none other than Dave.
Yo, what up, fellas?
What's up, Dave? Man? Dave in the building, man. We're excited, man.
I ran out of pages in that
notebook.
I
bet you did.
Last 2 episodes.
I bet you did.
Woo.
And I still got to give it up, Dave. You called one of the season's most one of the biggest I don't know. You caught on
reveals.
To yeah, man. So Dave,
I also had a big epic flub, which we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Also,
well, we will. Now, coming next in the building is the retro connoisseur, the man, the myth, the legend, Stadia Pro Gaming.
Yo.
What's up, man? SPG.
Not much, man. Ready to get into some Loki.
Yeah, man. Listen, we know you're a Marvel fan and you watch movies and everything, and we've been missing you. So it's so cool when you said, book me for this spot because I'll be in it. So,
I got a lot to say about some old Loki, but to get back to what you first said, man, that was a great quote from Titanic, but she could have shared that door. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There was some room on there.
There was a lot of room on
not for him. Not for him.
Hey, listen, that's always been a thing. And you know what it is, man? Maybe he would have got on and knocked her off. I don't know. But not intentionally, but because the weight of 2 people. Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway. But guys, you ready to mix it up?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, Big Mike, start us off, man.
Yeah,
you know what? Hold up real quick. Mike, you are the anchor of the show, man. Me, I'll just be talking about random stuff. Mike is so precise. He'll be like, so in the first act, and then the second act, I'm like, that's not Big Mike, man. You know, I can't do this without you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm into these shows heavy, just like Dave and just like the rest of us. So you know.
Man.
So yeah, let's get into it. But listen, I don't know, Stadia, we've been doing every 2 weeks, so we don't do it every week. So
yeah, he knows.
Yeah, so we want to start with episode 5, right? The one you got behind you, right? The one about the Lokis and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And just want to talk about, your thoughts on the episode and what stood out for you on that one and how it set up the finale for you. What are your thoughts about that one, episode 5?
Well, let me start with this, man. The writing on this show is top notch, man. The writing that went into this, to me, is just as good as the whole MCU writing, the whole Thanos thing, all of it, man. So that really struck me. But episode 5 was my favorite of the whole series, I think, because of all the different variations of Loki. They were all so very entertaining. And the little bit of tidbits we got from their little backstories, from like what universe they came from and the stuff they experienced. It was just so rich. And I literally paused the damn TV at a certain moments and turned to my wife and was like, do you understand what's happening right now? I mean, I got a lot to say, but I won't blow it all right now.
Okay. Which one was your favorite Loki? You have a favorite?
Yes. The alligator Loki was awesome. But old man Loki stole
classic
my heart.
Loki.
Classic Loki, yes.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Especially his story, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But his story was. Ooh.
All right, Dave, how about you, man? Well, how did episode 5 rate for you? And what's your thoughts on that one, man?
Okay, so so going into that episode when they first had to mention the void,
right?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody reads I don't know if you read comics, but you know who the Sentry is.
Yeah, the Sentry, yeah.
So you know his alter ego is the Void.
I didn't know that.
When I saw the Black Cloud, it's like he's the most powerful superhero, but he's also the most powerful supervillain. So and he's got a split personality. One flips, one doesn't. Anyway, when I saw the Black Cloud, I immediately thought Void. But moving forward on this one, that episode really blew my mind. The Thanos copter, bro, just
the Easter eggs were crazy.
I could die happy that I saw the Thanos copter in real life, yo. And as far as my favorite Loki, it's got to be Kid Loki, only because he's going to be coming back. He's going to be a big part of this MCU moving forward. That's yet another young Avenger.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you've noticed, but over the last 8-9 properties, they've been putting together the young Avengers.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah. So he's just another one in the notch, another notch in the belt, so to speak. But my mind was absolutely blown on this episode, for real.
So it was one of your favorites, or
yes, definitely one of my favorites. I thought Elioth could have had a little bit more substance to him instead of just a cloud monster. But
that's what he is in the comics. He's the same thing. Yeah.
But I figured with CGI, they would make him at least flesh him out a little bit more. But it is what it is. I still loved it. Like I said, beginning to end. No comment on that, man. Just wow. I was floored.
And you, Anthony, my partner over there?
So before you ask me, you might as well ask the super couple, the people that put it together and do everything well. You got Josh and Chloe in the building.
Hello.
Yeah, just in time to ask them before you ask me.
Got the full panel intact today. And Josh, of course, with the Wakanda forever, as usual. So, hi, guys. Hey, Chloe. Hey, Josh.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, fellas? Pleasure to be here with y'all this afternoon.
Yeah, on this huge Loki review. So as you know, guys, we like to do every 2 episodes. We're going to start back at episode 5 before we get to the finale. So I haven't heard your thoughts yet. What were your thoughts on episode 5, Josh?
5, I think that was a great, penultimate episode for the finale. Even though we had no idea what was going to happen, I feel like some of us in here knew, because I know the Petty Gang will get there eventually. That some of us that Kang or a version of Kang or a variant Kang would definitely make an appearance. And I thought it was the 5th one was it had a lot of character development, especially for Loki and Sylvie, which is them narcissistically falling in love with themselves, and then also narcissistically hating themselves at the same time in each other. And we see that come to fruition in the 6th episode, but I don't want to jump ahead. I'll let Chloe go.
So the 5th episode was lit. Okay. I was so soup. First of all, like I said, I've been watching all the fan theories and stuff. And
so shout out to New Rock Stars and Emergency Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm just a slight confession. I did not watch New Rock Stars before Loki. So just saying, y'all talk about it, but I was just like, oh yeah, sure. I see.
I love Eric, bro. That's my guy.
But since Loki, I've been watching it, and it's really dope. I really like New Rock Stars, and I've also been following other people for the breakdowns, all the clues that they put in there, all the parallels to the comic books, pretty dope. Episode 5, I liked it. I thought that it set up really, really well for episode 6. I was not disappointed at all.
Nice. Okay. What was your favorite Loki?
My favorite one, I say the one that was the most interesting. Not my favorite, because obviously the regular Loki is my favorite Loki. Yeah. The most interesting Loki was the alligator Loki.
So we got 3 different answers. That's hilarious. Whatever.
So I'm trying to figure out how can they understand him. But my second favorite was the vintage Loki.
Classic Loki.
Yeah. I call it.
Absolutely. And we were because as you guys know, we're rewatching Game of Thrones and we're on season 6 now. And so the classic.
Wow, you got there fast.
Yes.
So the classic Loki is actually an actor in Bravos. He's one of the actors when Arya has to assassinate one of the female actor. He's one of the actors in that play.
Oh, he is. You're right. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, Richard D. Grant. Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely. And my favorite has to be the kid. He killed Thor. Come on.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What makes this kid so special? Oh, I just happened to kill Thor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone was like, really?
Yeah, we should listen to the kid. You know.
Yeah. He was the majesty or whatever. He's the king of them. And Anthony, finally back to you, buddy. What do you think of that, man?
Well, I'm a little mad because you didn't ask Josh, but he inserted his answer and he stole my answer. I think the alligator definitely get the props, but when the kid, because I wasn't super into all of the Lokis. Again, I'm kind of like Chloe. I like the main Loki. But when the kid, because they was kind of trying to play him a little bit. You got a kid in here? He's like, what you do? I killed Thor. And I was like, oh, you heard that? And, as I was watching it with my wife. But, I think the kid, I would love to know more, a little more detail about his where he came from, just because of the fact that he killed Thor. But, so the kid was my favorite. But honestly, I think I'm with the people who really, really like this episode. So you know me, Mike. I like a heist type Mission Impossible, and that's what this episode gave you. Like we had to get into the darkness, the crazy creature. Like you're like, wait, how is that possible? And they had a mission, man, to make it happen. So they was driving in the car. Like I thought it was pretty cool. Like this was my favorite episode.
So if I think back, I remember we asked the question: would that void be just Loki's, or would Mobius be there too? Right, and in the previous episode, and we had different answers. Somebody said just Loki's. I forget who it was and whatnot.
Well, technically, Mobius. It was just Mobius and a bunch of Lokis. If you think about it, we didn't see any other humans there.
It seemed like it was only a Loki.
I was hoping to see old boy from the first episode who got what was it, prune? Remember I was hoping to see him running around somewhere too, but
so maybe it was just the Lokis that survived.
I think that makes more sense.
Everything gets kind of dumped there, and then this creature eats them or destroys them, whatever. Right. But they mentioned there's roving bands of whatever running around the area. They talk about them, but we don't see them.
But they were all Lokis though. All those guys,
because they know how to survive.
Yeah,
are they the only character in the world that knows how to survive an apocalypse? It's like
they don't die.
Like the roaches. Like
Loki
the roaches
don't die.
MCU.
Basically,
right? Loki's don't die. Mobius probably would have got done too.
Technically, isn't that one of Loki's things? They always get killed and somehow come back. So they do die.
No, they don't. They never completely die.
Right.
Listen,
even though he died, right? He didn't really die.
Listen, if you use the word "you died," you died. You might have got reincarnated, but you died to be able to be reincarnated.
Hey, Dave, how'd you like the Throgger, the Thor frog?
I loved it. At first I thought it was Beta Ray Bill, a miniature Beta Ray Bill. So when I had to pause it, obviously I paused it and zoomed in. And I saw it was Throg. I was like, "Oh shit!" But yeah, man, that was a dope Easter egg. The Living Tribunal Easter egg was another one that blew my mind. They had the statue of the head of the Living Tribunal. The Thanos copter was another one, another Easter egg. It was the only thing I knew about. The episode is so Easter egg laden, It's crazy,
it got the what's the one? Yellow Jacket head was there too.
Yeah. Yellow Jacket's helmet. What the hell? He's such a man. I don't want to see that guy again. I don't want to see him again.
It also had
Kang's Tower.
Sphinx there is there. Thank you, Will. They had the Kang Tower, the Sphinx.
The Kang Tower. You saw the Sanctum Sanctorum was trashed.
Oh yeah, it was.
Man, it was so heavy on the Easter eggs, bro. And then I still haven't made out what those runes are on top of that door when they open. But if you remember from WandaVision, they dealt with runes and shit. Well, when they opened that hatch that they climbed down into, there was a bunch of runes on there.
Let me ask you a question. Did y'all know that back in the TVA, when Sylvie was talking to Renslayer, the Renslayer was still going to double cross her? And episode 5. Same episode.
Oh yes.
Oh, in the beginning?
Yeah.
No. That came as a surprise.
Oh really? Okay.
Google got me on that one, bro. Yeah, I was like, wow, now she's got a driving force who's gonna help her navigate back there and pull them back when they need to come back.
Yeah,
Like, that's what I thought. That's what I thought she was gonna, But then, yeah, Miss Minutes then just,
Well, I think episode 5 was my favorite of the series, or at least this season so far. Or I know the season's over, but for the series so far, because 6 was very good and fantastic, but it was they dropped a lot of knowledge on you. It's one of those episodes you should watch a few times.
Already have.
Well, I kept watching episode 6 because I kept falling asleep. I was like, damn, let me wake up and rewind.
Let me go back to 5 for a second.
I know.
Yeah. So, Chloe, you said you did know she would double cross her?
Of course. It's Renslayer. Like, okay, so after 6 context, it made sense why number 5 made sense to me. Like, she's who she is because for a reason that we don't know yet.
Right.
It's going to be revealed, I think, season 2, why I believe she knew the whole time. And like, I don't want to, something that was said in season 6, in episode 6, she basically made me think that she took that option.
Okay.
Chloe, just say it, Chloe. You don't trust nobody.
So yeah, well, no. Trying to logic, and then knowing her past, like according to the comic books, that's like his past lover or whatever.
Right.
It just makes sense that she chose to live this timeline instead of the opposite. Like she made the sacrifice because she knew for the greater good, and she was going to do anything and everything to make sure nobody was going to mess with the TVA because she knew the consequences.
What about you, Josh?
If you prune your top lieutenant Mobius without any thought, how could you ever trust someone like that? That's like, I'm not going to say it's biting the hand that feeds you, but that's like biting the hand that serves you the most. And he was your ride or die in the TVA, and he's prone for all the other 9 to 5 eternal workers who work there for all eternity, for all time, always. And you prune him? Nah, you can't do that.
Because she know what's coming. She know what, if anything goes down, the great battle will occur.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, Chloe, but I don't know about that. But I'm gonna get to that. I like your theory on that, though. But go ahead, Anthony.
No, you know what? I don't know if I'm a sucker, but I'm always the guy that's just like watching it and is like, for real, and don't catch certain things. So I thought that it was like a change of heart type thing, like she was gonna try to help out, but I also want to say something. I want to give a shout out to the because we got to always give a shout out to the audience. Sierra Rose is in the building, and I want to take a quick question. She said, what do we think about the musical score for the whole series?
Oh my god, it's so good.
Amazing.
The intro song is still incredible, just like The Mandalorian. I put in the same category.
It's one of the best scores on TV like I've ever heard, besides like Mandalorian.
Yeah, it can evoke feelings without even seeing it. You can just hear it, and it can evoke feelings. Like a score from a movie. They did a really good job.
Yeah, I thought the directing, the writing, I think someone mentioned on the show, and the score was all like excellent throughout the entire process to me. 100%.
I think the reason why I go crazy for these for what Disney is doing, and I don't go crazy for the Netflix, because again, the main thing is they connect, but they pull it together, man. And I'm again, like I said, I'm pretty sure the Netflix shows are good, but the fact that you could have characters from the blockbuster movie, and then they're trying to make it on that level with the music, like Sierra Rose, shout out the music, Mike's talking about the directing, like you feel like they could have put this together and just put it in the movie,
It definitely could have been a movie as a whole. Maybe maybe that's 2 movies, but
that's why I'm looking at all of these shows. I'm viewing these shows as movie 1, movie 2, movie 3, because each episode is close to like an hour. So
right.
You would think a 2-hour film is like Loki Part 1, Loki Part 2, Loki Part 3. That's how I'm staying excited for these shows like this. Like, I look at them as big movies.
Yeah, I don't give them that much credit.
That's what Disney's doing, is they're making them like big movies, and I have to give them credit for that. Falcon and the Winter Soldier had a few set pieces that were as good as a blockbuster movie. So
that is true.
Yeah. They're really throwing cash at it, and it shows.
Look at the WandaVision, the Wanda and Agatha scene, the final fight scene.
That was huge.
You know how much that costs?
A lot.
Yeah.
But bro. But yeah, man, they I look at these as big movies. That's how I add them in. I just can't look at them as just regular throwaway TV shows.
Now, and looking at it that way, think of, I know we haven't got there yet, but think of all the changes. I mean, like, it's just remarkable.
Well, it's
that's what we're gonna get to too, because that's kind of like the end. I want to talk about the future of the MCU a little later, but before we get to that, and because I want to finish 5, but in 5, how about the scene where they all finally got together in the Lokis in the bowling alley in the fight? What do you guys think about that one?
That was hilarious. I'm sorry, that episode also had a lot of funny parts, man. Like Boast for Loki was hilarious. Yeah. And then when Croc Loki bit dude's head off, that was it for me, yo. I had to rewind that like 5 times, yo. Because it was funny, yo. And typical Marvel, they showed no blood, hardly no blood whatsoever.
I think it was a good fight scene, but in a Loki kind of way. I feel like chaotic. Loki. Yeah, I feel like it was good for a bunch of Lokis together. You know, I feel like it worked out. It worked out.
The banter was better than the fight. All the variations of Loki describing their little histories and what brought what transpired to bring them to where they were. And this is where classic Loki stole my heart. Now, I love Loki. So watching his journey through all the Thor movies and then the Avengers movies and then leaving him where we left him, he loves his brother. He's trying to do the right thing and Thanos snaps his neck. That was heartbreaking for me. But to hear classic Loki describe his universe was identical. Everything happened the exact same way, except this Loki was more powerful, more cunning, and he could project an image that would even trick Thanos. And he survived that. And of course he gets lonely eventually in whatever existence he was living, and he reaches out to Thor, and that's when the TVA snaps him up. That to me was incredible, and it got my mind racing about seeing a whole MCU with the old costumes, everything happening the same way. But I don't know, man. It was extremely exciting to me.
One thing that bugged me about classic Loki's costume was that his lower portion looked like a diaper. Did it not? Yo?
I mean, he is an old man. Maybe he needed it.
It's like Loki had the pants built into his uniform.
Well, but he just did an interview, and they asked him about his costume, and he said that he loved it, but his only complaint was where's the damn muscles? He said in the comic book, he was still ripped. He said I wanted some muscles. It was interesting. Go ahead.
Shout outs to Unitrix. He said this would be a spoiler for me because he's never seen any of the Lokis, but he'll probably forget everything tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in, Unitrix.
Does anyone believe Boastful Loki and his backstory?
Not at all.
No,
not at all. Because if you did, how did you end up there? Like, don't you think he would still have the gauntlet with him?
Right.
If he just wound up got pruned. Like, no. Again, you got to remember the basis of Loki is Loki's always a liar.
Right. Here's a question though: if he had the Infinity Gauntlet, like all the stones and stuff, do you think the TVA would have a chance of showing up to his universe and collecting them? Because it works in his universe.
You see all these? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but,
they would, possible. Right? Because they collect Infinity Stones for like paperweights.
Oh, yeah. I still don't think that looks powerful enough to do
the gauntlet.
What's that, Josh?
I don't think he'll be powerful enough to use all of them at the same time.
Yeah, that's the problem. People forget you got to be strong enough to do that stuff or whatever. So
we saw Loki's power set expanded throughout this whole series from what it was before till now.
But Loki's now like Superman. He can do everything. It's crazy.
The ultimate MacGuffin.
This Loki would have been beating up the Avengers because he does everything now.
I don't know about that. We're getting out of hand now.
I agree. I feel like I think he used less powers than he did in the Avengers movies. That's just me.
Wait, say it again, Josh?
I think he used less powers. Classic Loki pointed it out. Oh, using knives and blades, it only diminishes our power.
Right, I agree.
And all the projections that Loki used to do for fun on Asgard, he didn't even do half of that.
No.
You know what always bugged me? It's still a Loki topic, but it's kind of off the topic of the show. Is in Endgame or Infinity War, Ebony Maw told Thanos that he's the first person to hold 2 Infinity Stones. But he's incorrect. Loki was the first person to hold 2 Infinity Stones. In the MCU, he had the Tesseract, he had the staff, and he had the Space Stone. That's the
But he
Mind
didn't really
Stone.
hold them though.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
They were encased or whatever, right? The
Right,
Tesseract,
right.
yeah.
He's talking about physically,
but possessing them. But like as far as possessing it,
But also
it
using
doesn't
them
count.
simultaneously.
right.
Right.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, man.
That's always
Thanos.
bugged me. It's just one of those things that's bugged me.
Are we ever?
Don't
let's
try
be
to
honest,
play
right?
Thanos' power, man.
Let
When
me
they were-
ask you,
right-
what I want
right before that fight, I thought another interesting point that the classic Loki made, and even young Loki, is that whenever we try to snap out of our loops, whenever we try to do better, be better, change, the TVA pops in and snatches us up. That's not allowed. We're on a certain course. We're supposed to play our part, and that is it. And if we don't play our part, someone's coming for us. I thought that was extremely interesting, which kind of sets up the dynamic between the Lokis going forward.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You gonna say something, Anthony?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, this is off topic. But are we ever gonna real quick? Do you guys feel we're ever gonna see a villain that we feel is more menacing than Thanos in the way that?
Now. Yes, now. Yes. Right now. It's coming.
You saw the nicest, puppiest version of Kang you could ever see. That's what you saw. You saw the best version, like he said, with the kindest heart or whatever. He happened to win, but and he did do bad things. Like he sits down in 6 and he says, "We're all villains here. You know, we've all done crazy, horrible stuff, but this works. This is maintaining stuff."
I mean, all right, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I want to wrap up 5 now for sure, because last thing was about the classic.
As many Lokis as there are. Sorry, as many Lokis as there are. There's Kangs. I mean,
about classic Loki
like,
and his huge projections and stuff at the end of the show, and how crazy that scene was. While you had Sylvie and the other Loki doing the enchantment that Loki can do now, all of a sudden, or whatever like that. But yeah, I thought that scene was amazing. I thought everything about that scene was good. The cinematography was great. The wind blowing, the scales of it, like it really made me feel what classic Loki was saying, like how powerful you can be if you focus on your magic and not knives and swords and stuff like that. What do you think about that, Dave?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's going to be like his one legacy, I guess, to Loki, or the one thing he leaves to Loki is letting him know that he's way more powerful than what he is. Yeah. He's still going to run around with Kid Loki's blade. He'll be getting that back later, I'm sure. But because you notice he's still out there.
Yeah, Kid Loki.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He's still Kid Loki's still out there. Yeah. But as far as that, that's gonna be his message that he takes. That's why I said we saw his power level increase. Like now he's just telekinetically grabbing people at will. Now he's got the green force blasts like she had, like Sylvie had.
Yeah, Sylvie had. Yeah.
So and now he's able to actually have a copy of himself fight Sylvie while he's over there really protecting Kang, like standing in front of the desk. Because remember when she came for him, he appeared like, wait, like, so he was really there. So yeah, we saw his power level increase exponentially. I don't even know where they're gonna take it as far as Loki season 2, but I guess that remains to be seen. But I loved it. I loved the whole arc, how he carried, how he's everything, and how we got to see how he got expanded, because it's like he was being taught this as he was going. So we taught him to enchant. This guy taught him to create better illusions, and it's a good character arc for him. Sorry.
I don't think we've seen all his powers yet. I think
no,
because they've all like come together in the what's the area called where they got pruned? The void. They're gonna meet each other and learn about each other's talents. Number one, they could, right? Or they can just fight each other, like episode 6, what King was explaining. But I think that Loki, the more Lokis he meets, the more he's gonna expand like his knowledge of what he's capable of, because he didn't even know that he could do what Sylvie could do. But technically they're the same person. So anything any of the Lokis can do, they all can do.
Well, what are your thoughts on the power set, Josh, and the whole and the classic Loki with his illusion of Asgard, which was crazy? So.
Absolutely, because because he grew up with Thor. We got to remember that. So he was never going to beat Thor hand to hand. So he had to focus on the magic. That was his competitive advantage. And Thor is the Asgardian equivalent of the dumb jock, right? So your intellect, your cleverness. So these are all Loki's talents and abilities, and we'll get into that later. And while I was disappointed in episode 6,
I watched that, by the way, so and commented. So I can't wait to talk to you about that.
Right.
And what about you, Stadia Pro? Just with that huge illusion. What do you think about that?
Right.
Well, that's your guy. That's a Loki, like you said. So
yeah, I mean, when he described that he created a illusion that would even fool the Titan Thanos, I thought, oh wow, this guy's got some power. You know, for him to pretend to be a piece of trash and then blow away with the ship, and I mean, that got my mind racing. And then later in the episode, when he showed his full power, and the sacrifice, don't forget that this Loki saw that this other Loki and Sylvie may be able to break the circle or break the cycle. So he was okay sacrificing himself, but before he did, boy, did he go out in style, man.
Purpose.
Glorious purpose, man. He focuses all of his energy and he makes that Asgard appear, which makes the monster go, oh, more shit to devour. And it goes in to get it. And as it's like swiping and stuff, he's making parts of it disappear and then come back. Like, this dude was powerful, and I would love to see him in something, man. I want to see him again. The actor did an awesome job, and I literally paused it a few times and was explaining to my wife how important and awesome the scene was, you know, and how much power he was wielding, and it was just fantastic. And then, like I said, for them to have the connection and to sacrifice himself for these other two Lokis, which 45 minutes ago he would have never thought about. He would never have done that. Right. I don't know. It was very interesting to me. It was powerful.
And
Anthony? Go ahead, Columbus. I'm sorry.
I don't think he's dead, by the way. I think he pulls another.
If he put another illusion didn't die, that'd be amazing to me.
They don't die. They don't die.
No, I agree with Chloe 100% as far as Richard Grant's character. He said it. If he could fool Thanos, of course he could fool Elias.
Loki got killed like a couple times already.
Elias is 2 Infinity Stones. So yeah, of course he can fool Elias.
So they're survivors, and like that's a part of his core value or core. At his core, he's a survivor. So even when he's dead, he's not really dead. He's just living somewhere else.
I would like to see him come back as like Loki's mentor / partner for season 2.
And it almost seemed for a minute with how many Lokis there were that the universe itself or the was, you know, creating these mischievous characters to enact change somehow. You know, it was fighting against the keeping everything the timeline or whatever, the sacred timeline. It's like the universe trying to fight back, kind of.
Well, we're actually going to get into that as soon as Susan Mike gives the green light on.
I'm almost there, man. So I think that was really epic. Probably one of the most epic things of the show. Well, you know what? I do love. I can't forget. I think it was episode 3 at the very end, or the beginning of episode 4, where you got both Loki sitting there staring at each other, and in the back, and it's all quiet and calm, but in the background there's pieces of the moon smashing into the planet. I just still love that. It was something. It was like a beautiful disaster, you know. You know, he finally falls in love, but it's pretty much the end, and you could watch it like. But second to that, this was one of the most epic scenes to me. Also want to give a shout out to E Money. He said glorious this purpose. But you guys killed it, man. I don't have much to say about this. Stadia Pro probably said everything I would like to say and more. I think it was a great scene to show that much power in one Loki. I mean, I don't know if our Loki's ever gonna get there, but yeah, it was cool, man. I liked it a lot.
If he ever gets back to his original timeline, like I don't know if this is possible or if this is ever going to happen, but if he could pop this Loki at this point, pop back in to where he poofed out, and let Thor take him, he's got an idea at least of how he could trick Thanos.
All right. Well, you said glorious purpose. Let's segue that to episode 6. So, the reason I said that because in the beginning of the episode, we hear glorious purpose with a bunch of other MCU sayings over the years, and the intro. What'd y'all think of Josh? What do you think about that? How they brought that out, man?
I thought that was great. That was one of the first times, if not the first time, that Marvel's done that with an intro like that. I thought that was great. They even incorporated, people like Alan Watts, which is one of my favorite philosophers of all time, as you talk about space and time and existence, and just one of those people who challenges you to think about reality in itself. So I thought that was very powerful, and it sets the tone for the entire episode, as we know.
Yeah.
I had to personally so I don't know if I was paying attention or not, but when it first started, I watched the beginning, the intro, and I noticed like, oh wait, it was like music and people talking. And actually, it was like, hold on, Marvel don't do nothing for nothing. And I told my wife because I don't know what was happening. I was like, I gotta rewind that. So I actually rewinded it to like, hold on, you gotta be quiet real quick. You gotta listen to this. And we like to keep the subtitles on at the very bottom of the screen, so it was cool. Like you said, Alan Watts, like some of the names was popping up and everything, and so it was like, oh wow, that was really cool. So it was definitely started. It definitely intrigued me as it started off the season finale, and I was curious to see where it was going to go from there. So.
All right, so I know you watched the Easter eggs, Chloe. What do you think about that first intro when they see all the words and stuff like that?
So typically, like with any story, right? First, there's basically the beginning tells you about the end.
Right.
If you pay very, very close attention to the beginning, you'll pretty much be able to predict exactly what the story is about. So for me, just having that intro and they're very purposeful and intentional when they make these things, like Ant said. But for me, it was like, okay, so this is interesting because now they're pulling in like historical people into this timeline. So like, how does this all come together? Was the question I asked, right, myself. And then another question I asked was like, why it's going from is it going from the past to the present, to the future, to the past, to the I couldn't really figure out where the timeline of the things was coming from. So I'm like, that was something that piqued my curiosity, which, at the end we realized it's a circle. But it's just, I think that I love how Marvel, and this, I'm really getting into Marvel even more than before. They are so intentional with everything. And it's so you can watch it a million times and get something different out of each time, especially when you have the context of like the comics, or you have the context of like other movies, or like even historical dates and times, and then like watching the Easter eggs and stuff, I learned like there's always like it's like they have scientists working in this. Like I remember one of the spoilers I was watching, it was like words written on one of the buildings in the background, and he like zoomed in and like translated it. I'm like, how's he translating this makeup?
I saw that too. I was like, wait, how's he doing that?
And he did it. So I was just like, okay, like there's a method to the madness. And like as a person, well, I would consider myself like just a average viewer at one point of the content. And then like I see myself turning into like a geek about this stuff, and it's fun. And it's like, okay, they can get somebody like me to just turn from like an average viewer to like me really being into the content. They're doing something right.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Definitely. Hey, Dave, man, what'd you think of it, man? I know you were all into it.
Yeah, it was a very, very well thought out intro, but I think it was smokescreen for the end of the intro. Basically, I think Marvel switched universes on us.
Yes.
In that intro, because everything that was happening and everything we remembered seeing through our MCU was coming out until it came to that first black hole. Then we zoom into the black hole next to it, and that's where everything inside the timekeeper thing started.
My answer was going to be exactly his, but I was going to preface it by saying confusing, because it does start there with the MCU. We hear all their timeline, and then it jumps from that black hole to another.
And a lot of it's from a Loki's perspective. So I don't know if we jumped into Sylvie's timeline or whose timeline. I don't know, but I think that was the very first witness of the universe. The universe is switching.
Had all the MCU stuff, all their
I bet you if they zoomed out. I bet you if they zoomed out of those two black holes, just like Kang said, you would see probably an infinite string of black holes right next to each other.
Well, the one black hole had all the MCU dialogue, and then the other black hole had all the WandaVision. And
no, it had none. The second black hole had nothing. It zoomed right into their conversation with Tanki.
I thought it had Vision. Yeah, and I thought it had Loki and Sylvie. Sylvie saying, "Open your eyes,"
in
and then
the second,
and classic,
in
the second one, in the second one, and the classic Loki saying "glorious purpose."
I might be mistaken then.
Yeah, it was like 3 lines from the.
But I think you nailed it though. I think we did jump. Like, you know how Kang is saying that they're stacked on top of each other. You know, there could be 18 for all we know. We saw 2, and one of them was our MCU, and then it went into the other, and then, you know, and then that also, we'll get into that later, but it also gets into where Loki went. You know.
Yeah.
So. Well, so to Chloe's point, I think everything's purposeful. They even had quotes from, I think, Maya Angelou, Nelson Mandela. I think it was all purposeful that was in there. I thought that was pretty that was pretty dope as well, and it really I think made you think a little bit, you know. And it's funny because like I think people were complaining that they wanted to be able to skip the intro on the shows. So Disney added a skip the intro button that people can use now. But if you skip it this time, you actually missed something. So it's like, get what you want, but it's on you and whatnot. Because they were tired of seeing the whole Marvel flippy page, blah blah blah. So, which is like 10 seconds. I don't know why.
I was about to say I don't feel like it's really long. So
it's like Star Wars. I get excited when I see that now. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, I'm getting ready for some action and some good.
It's so crazy how Disney did that to Star Wars. I feel like, come on, man, you could have came up with your own thing, but.
Yeah. But anyway, so as we move forward, the episode opens right where we ended the last episode, and they go inside the Citadel, and we see that who got shocked by the Miss Minutes little jump scare moment. Like, who did they catch off guard? They catch you guys off guard at all?
A little bit. I thought it was fun though. I kind of knew she was going to be there because that was in the spoiler alert. I mean, that was in like the fan predictions or whatever. That was like she's behind everything. So I was expecting her to be there, but not that quick. Like it progressed pretty quickly, more than I thought it was going to progress. I thought it was going to be like, at the end there was like this huge reveal, but that's not what happened.
Well, so she's talking about what we think about her deal that she offered them, and do you think they were thinking about taking it at all?
I think they should have took it.
I don't think the deal was real.
I think it was real.
Really?
And the thing, even if it wasn't real, they could have taken it and then did something else to get out of it because they're Lokis.
Well, I think Kang was testing them possibly to see if they were worthy of taking his place.
What do you think, Josh?
And he said 2 of you made it. 2 of you were worthy. But anyway.
Right. And I would have to say with Miss Minutes, I put her in the same, not in the same category as Renslayer, but on that same continuum, if you will. Like it. So you have Kang, then you have Miss Minutes, then you have Renslayer. And, you know, she's the communication piece between those two. And even though that Renslayer doesn't really know who Kang is per se right now, I think that you can't really trust her because she, I guess from Loki's perspective, the TVA Loki, he, you know, when he tries to touch her, you know, and touch her interface, and she's moving around, she's like, so you're actually a conscious being. So from that perspective, if you come all that way, you don't make a deal with the lieutenant. You go to the admiral. I didn't come all this way to speak to you. I'm speaking to your boss.
Right.
Okay, Anthony, what do you think about the deal and what they're offering?
Sylvie was so diehard, nothing was changing her mind. So I mean, it just makes sense for them not to. It would have been silly, kind of what Josh saying. So you came all this way and then you accept her deal. Like that would have been like a slap in the face. But before we go forward, can I just say probably the most crazy thing you guys are gonna hear in movie history?
Sure.
What?
I'm just learning today. I didn't know that was Kang.
Today you're saying that right now?
How was that?
Well, no, that's not crazy. That's not crazy. The only reason I knew it was Kang because I did my research before I watched it.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking like, when did they say that was Kang? That's Kang?
They never explicitly said it was him.
They do it in their cheeky with the Conqueror line.
He's gonna.
That was okay. Wait. So that was a variant of Kang.
He who remains.
It's
It's an amalgamation of 2 of them, yo. It's the He Who Remains, which is just a separate character from Kang in the comics.
Yep.
And Immortus,
right?
Who has went and killed all his other variants to become a Nexus being, which is why he was controlling time.
Wait. This is in the comic. If he's confusing you, that's from the comic.
That's from the comic. I'm just trying to make. It's what's going on here because Immortus is the only version of Kang.
You know what's funny because Anthony, it's because remember how we were talking a few weeks ago, a bunch of us were a bunch of times, how like you know, like you don't watch a lot of the extra stuff that goes with it, stuff like that, and Marvel does a good job of that. This is the one time we probably should have, because
yeah,
like,
you know what? So I didn't want things to get ruined for me. So whenever I seen like because I think we watched it not that long ago, a couple days ago. You guys probably watched it that morning or something, right? So I was like, oh, every time I seen it said something, I didn't want it to get ruined for me. I don't like spoilers unless I seen something, right? So, but when I was watching it, I was like, all right, so who's this dude? And then only thing made me think he was super important was at the very end they zoomed in on the big statue when
which is Kang, looks exactly like Kang.
That's him. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Like the statue you're talking about, it has the Kang outfit on everything from the comic books. It's
no, the lighting director even went to the point of putting a blue light on his face when he first stepped out.
I'm just gonna again show my age. I'm 45. When I was young, Kang was not popular. I don't even remember what Kang looked like, so I'm just sorry to say that. But
well, I get it, because I would not have known. And people are just like you. They don't know who King the Conqueror is. So it probably was just like, oh, wow, this is the guy in charge of.
Right, this is going to be the new guy. Yeah.
This is a new man. We're going to learn about him next season. But he is King the Conqueror. So I only know that because I watched.
Let me ask you this. I'm just trying to, because I know we go with fan theories and this and that. So is the actor who we just seen, is he going to be Kang in the movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
And
he's not going to be that same person, but he's going to be wearing the same face.
But Ant is somewhat correct though. Ant, don't feel bad that you don't know what he looks like, because Kang has had many looks in the comics as well. He was an Egyptian emperor.
Well, it's
wearing like Egyptian garb. He's
Okay.
an old white dude with a beard and a mustache.
Right.
But about a year ago, Jonathan Majors was casted as Kang.
And that's
what I'm saying. Yeah, that's so they had the whole press conference for Ant-Man 3. Like,
I definitely didn't see that. Yeah, I don't.
But that's my point to you, Anthony. Before you were like, you don't want to, but that extra stuff now, you kind of like, not before, maybe even after the show, like before Marvel would kind of plan to like fans who don't know about stuff. Now they're playing to more the comic fans. It feels like
that's cool though.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? I feel like that's fair. So here's what I think is cool, right? I think by them catering to the non-fans, it was kind of like Transformers. I always look at stuff as Transformers, right? They made things funny and they made it where a family could go watch and not be like, I don't know what's going on, right? I think now Marvel has cemented themselves to the point where they probably should start giving back to the people who's been into it before there was an MCU, right? Like Dave or you guys. So it's kind of fair. So for me, I don't have a problem with it literally going.
It does though. They do. The Thanos copter, I guarantee you 99% of the people didn't know where that's from.
You know what's funny? That's the only thing I knew of, because I did see there was a short video on YouTube. So it was short. And it showed like the Thanos copter, and so I was like, okay, let me watch that. So I watched that, and they was like, yeah, they're gonna have a helicopter, and I was like, oh, so I knew, like, I paused it.
In the comics, in that story, he got arrested by the police.
That's funny.
Yeah, he did. He
He got handcuffed to walk to jail. Thanos.
But he didn't have Infinity Gauntlet though. But anyway,
but real quick. So the guy at the end that played as Kang, or I don't know, what was his name in the show, because it wasn't Kang.
He Who Remains.
And that was it, right?
Which is a variant of Kang. But
okay, so hold on.
Meaning he pruned all the other lines that had Kangs. He won the dimensional
I get that,
war.
but they never said the name Kang. Now,
no.
So that guy, right? Just help me out. I just want a clear answer.
Go ahead.
What's his real name in life?
Jonathan Majors.
All right. Is Jonathan who is going to be Kang in the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
You will see him for
all variants.
So a few minutes ago, when you asked us, anybody going to be as bad as Thanos? Why we all say yes, because he's going to wind up in several movies and TV shows.
Yes.
Well, here that's
an example.
Here's the thing is.
Listen, as an example, if you think Thanos is a big bad guy, right? And the MCU just stomped his ass and made things go back to normal. Well, the very next day, a different Thanos from a different universe could pop in that's even stronger. That's what Kang is. There's an infinite possibilities of this guy getting beaten and then showing up again like,
Right, now, hear me out. So I hear that, but it's the same reason why I think the Joker's a whack villain, right? He's some dude that I'll probably beat up in real life myself. Thanos, hell no. So what I'm wondering is Kang gonna be like, when I say menacing, like how Josh and Mike would say, like Thanos would be beating you up and giving you this quote in speech. Like, I wonder if Kang is gonna not like, oh, I got magic and I'm so powerful I can make the world disappear. No,
but
are you gonna look at Thanos like,
okay, so what's menacing about Kang and what's gonna be menacing is his philosophy and his genius level intellect. He has no superhuman powers.
Okay,
none.
so
Everything that's from him is from his mind and what he made. Like that.
No, I don't agree with that.
Yes,
I don't agree with that.
It's
So hold on.
I love where this is going.
Hold on. So like Stadia was saying, there's different versions of Kang. So the one you
none of them ever had powers. Hold
on, Dave. Let me finish, Dave. Hold on. Mm-hmm. So the one you just saw, Anthony, he's kind of like they said, like the lowest, least, most menacing one, right? Now, Dave, you're right. They didn't have powers, but because he was from a different timeline, let's say 3,000 years in the future, his technology was so advanced, the Avengers couldn't beat him. So they would try to punch him and kick him, and he'd be like, ha ha ha, what is that going to do? So he was because he was more advanced than them, stuff like that. It wasn't all mental. He was fighting them too. Combat, but they couldn't hit him.
It's not just he's smart. Think of him as Batman. If Batman was evil, all right, the way DC soups up Batman's intelligence, if Batman was evil, he'd be Kang.
No, think of him as a more advanced Iron Man because he's got technology. Am I right, Josh? Like you watched the cartoon? Like he's like
I'm gonna go with Matthias Thompson the third in the comments. Kang is like an evil Iron Man from the future with much better tech.
I just said,
damn it. Yeah,
he's way smarter.
All right, so real quick, I want to give a shout out to E Money. He said, no, it's the tech. And I want to give a shout out. So Matthias Thompson is my best friend. He moved to Arizona, but if I need a question, he's the guy that said U.S. agents when we all was like, who is this dude? Matthias is like the comic book nerds. So Matt, thanks for jumping in, man. But so what I'm hearing you guys say to answer my question is no, he ain't gonna be as menacing as
you're not listening.
Guys, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. You know why? Because Anthony is doubting Kang, which is great. Yes. So he's gonna be even more surprised when he's like, "Oh my gosh!"
No, because I can see him having great tech, right? But I feel like, all right. So here's what I'm saying. You know, like that bully, right? That was just the big brute, and he was like, "Dude, I'm not beating him." But you know, the other bully that you probably was like, dude, my man, he got swords and stuff, but I feel like I could take him. Anthony, so he's not that dude, but Anthony, I mean, I might be like the Joker.
There's a version of Kang walking around with very heavy boots that is just as menacing as Darth Vader without the helmet.
I mean, we haven't even seen it yet. We're going way out.
I'm saying, but it will blow you away when you do see it because
he's not the kind of guy. He's not the kind of guy that knocks out the Hulk. He's the kind of guy that will depower the Hulk.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you answered my question. So
Hulk and Thor definitely went against them, but again, think about what we have now, but think about 3,000 years from now and how powerful the tech would be. Basically, that's why.
I get that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but that was a good offset. But back to the episode, man. So they meet Kang. Let's go right to it, and the elevator. And you didn't
don't just say that real quick. You got to say that Dave or the guys who said Kang will be in it. No, Chloe. Chloe is right. We got to say.
No, Josh was right. Josh said that he would be in it.
Wasn't Chloe? Yeah. Me and Chloe was going on for like 20 minutes of he's not going to be in it. She was like, he is going to be in it.
Yeah, definitely. But Josh said it too. Yeah, Chloe definitely said it. Yeah. I said season 2. You said he wouldn't show up until the movies, Anthony.
Yeah, me too. I said he wouldn't show up to the movie.
I give credit where credit is due. That's why Chloe gets the golden star.
I wasn't surprised it was Kang. I was surprised the Kang we got and how.
That's another thing I was going to say too, man. I'm sad already to see this Kang go. I like this Kang,
but I don't think we've seen the last of him either. We'll get into that too.
Yeah, but Anthony, I will say this though, just knowing the background of this, they added this whole episode was kind of added during the whole pandemic timeline. Initially, he wasn't supposed to be in the episode.
Yeah, because you guys said he said he's not going to be in the show, right? He actually said that.
On the beginning, yeah.
Every actor is going to lie about that.
They lied. That's how I knew he was going to be in it, because when they asked him, "Do you know anything? Are you going to be an Avenger?" I mean, in Loki, he was like, "What's Loki? I don't know what Loki is." Like, bruh, come on.
But if it did come out regular time, he wasn't going to be in it though. The extra time they used to add him though, because the scene in the trailer with Loki as the King of Asgard that we've never seen in the show and stuff like that, they were supposed to show that on the last episode and him beating New York and blah blah blah. So when they had more time, they said let's add King to the episode and whatnot.
Right.
So it was kind of like a half and a half, but
They should have showed the other thing.
Wait, but Mike, when did you figure out this information?
After the show, I watched some extra stuff about it.
After you did your research after the show.
I watched the director comment about it. But I never went against you, but I thought it would come season 2, but now, okay, so let's go backwards. So he shows up in the elevator. I'm sure, you guys weren't shocked. Some were shocked.
My jaw hit the floor, man.
Wow.
I was happy.
Because I was so staunch against it. I'm like, they got to save him for Ant-Man to build up the theater response for Ant-Man. But I guess now they just don't need it now. They're just like, we're just going to introduce this guy, and it's going to get people souped anyway to see who the next.
Do you feel they'll take away from the movies now that he's already there in the show?
No, not at all. Not at all, because we're going to get a completely different Kang now.
Yeah, I think that's it. So let me jump in there real quick. I wanna fall on my face real quick. I said they would not use a show to introduce the main villain, is what I said, right? I said if they did that, I'll be super shocked. Now, today's point, but it isn't the same villain, but it still is the person, as you guys said, that really is the guy that's going to play him. So I really have to, I'm about to do this, take my hat off because, I can't wear this hat for the rest of the show. I'm going to take my hat off because I really felt these shows will never be on the level of the actual big the actual what we see in the movies. So I don't feel like they would not waste the time, but they would use a show to introduce a big bad. And man, listen,
they gave him the whole show. I loved it.
The whole show.
Didn't Feige say you don't need to watch the shows to be able to understand the movies? So isn't that kind of confusing?
Crap. He's inside. That's Cap. That's Cap. But if you need to watch these shows, he just said that just to be funny.
I find it interesting that Loki is just as important as Endgame going into the future of the MCU. That is remarkable to me, let alone reveal a villain that's going to be taken care of in a movie. It literally changes the foundation, or could change the foundation of the MCU, everything we've already experienced.
Go
ahead, Chloe. Sorry.
I was going to say, this is the whole plan. The plan is they had Disney Plus. You need to watch Disney Plus to go see the movie. It just brings the people who were going to the movies to that Disney Plus revenue stream, number one, right? So business-wise, it's a smart deal. Secondly, the Loki show literally is the one that changes everything. So Josh and I were talking about this last night about the Spider-Verse was our first introduction into these multiverses. And then now we have actual details about why there's multi-universe, how there's multi-universe, what the TVA is, how there's different variants. We saw variants into the Spider-Verse. We just didn't know they were called variants.
Right.
And so now it's kind of giving us that concrete introduction into the different universes, and then time and space and reality. And then I'm going the next one, what's the show coming out that's talking about the What If series? This is going straight into the What If series. Then I even saw this is a little bit sidebar. WandaVision, at the end of WandaVision, she heard her kids and it was a red glow. People are theorizing that is because the universe, that's when the different branches were happening and she was able to hear her kids. There's going to be a lot of different things. There's people going to be coming back. There's people going to be coming in from, Josh and I were talking about this last night, from X-Men, hopefully. This is really the key to everything. This is the game changer of MCU forward. I'm
going to say this, Chloe. I'm looking at it. So you're talking about it in a game changer as far as what could be done on screen. I'm going to say the game changer is, for me, taking my hat off, is Disney Plus, nothing's off the table. You just introduced the main big bad on a TV show. For me, that's such a big deal. I just didn't think that would be a thing they would do, because you would save something iconic like that for a big blockbuster. But it's showing that the shows could be just as important or as big as a movie.
And to be honest, no cap, when we went to go see Black Widow, I was I could have watched this on TV.
You could have paid $30.
I did not need. We did not need to go to the movies for that.
Well, Anthony fell asleep next to me in the theater. So
Yeah, I'm not saying that. That's not because the movie was bad. I was just tired. I never blame a movie when I fall asleep.
It was because it was trash. Like it was not. If Loki was, I would have stayed awake.
Well,
Widow, nah. That was.
I'm not.
Stay at
well,
home.
that's a whole nother story. We got to get it. Well, we're still. Me and Mike still got to do our spoiler review. So, Chloe, we would like to. I would personally like to invite you on for that. So when we do it, please be a part of that.
I will. Okay. And secondly, that's the caveat, right? So. Like, and you're looking from perspective, like, oh my gosh, they have this like villain introducing them on the show. Yeah. For me, I'm just like, these movies better be out of this world because the shows are out of this world. So if they don't blow me away with the movies, I'm not going to the movies.
Yeah, but real quick, to be fair though, Chloe, to be fair, so this is what keeps me out of trouble, which probably got you in trouble. She ain't got no damn powers. What do you want it to be? So I always look at it as like, if you got powers, that's why I was mad that they barely had the Hulk. Well, they didn't have the Hulk in the last two Marvel movies.
God!
So what I'm saying is, I'm not that mad at Black Widow because she's a person with no damn powers. I don't know what you wanted it to be. You know.
Let me bring it back to what we're talking about, because in Black Widow, the post credits, I'm sure we all seen it by now. You see Contessa with Elena or whatever, and same thing. Some people were like, "Yo, who is this lady?" But they didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So again, they're trying to make you have to watch everything and whatnot in order to see it and whatnot. So it is interesting with that. But I don't know what Feige would say that. That's kind of like biting the hand and spite his face. You know what I mean? Like saying you don't need to watch the shows to watch the movies and whatnot.
Right. Well, I think he just wanted the people who aren't that diehard to know that, listen, you don't, because let's be honest, you don't really need, like, you'll be like, oh, who was that lady at the end of the credits? But did that stop you from enjoying the movie because that was at the end of the credits?
You. I was just going to say that.
You didn't see Kang come on and he's not even the menacing Kang, right? When he comes out in the movies, did you really need to see him walk around for 40 minutes doing nothing? Sorry, we don't get into it.
That was required TV, man. I'm sorry. I was about to say,
like, if you didn't understand the multiverse, like, you're gonna be confused as hell if you didn't watch.
That's required.
Yeah. But here's the thing. You just hold up real quick. Chloe asked you, when did you watch what you watched? You said after the show. So you might be confused, like, whoa, but it doesn't take nothing to Google it after show. Somebody we was talking about said they stopped in the Google something when the movie was on. I was like, all right, that's crazy. I won't do that. But yeah, I mean, it's not gonna stop you from not being able to watch a movie.
You guys, you know what I just realized? Anthony kind of showed that how powerful Kang is going to be, because Thanos was only as powerful as the Infinity Stones in one universe. Kang is able to compete on a multitude of universes.
True.
Well, because it's multiple.
Which is why he's showing up. Which is why he's showing up in Ant-Man first.
Yeah, so he's not showing up and conquering Earth either. He's conquering the universe.
I wonder if Loki is going to show up in Ant-Man as well.
Yeah.
Well,
he's supposed to in Doctor Strange.
We gotta get that. We gotta bring it back.
Let's bring it back because we talked about this already a little bit. But all right, Kang in the elevator. She tries to kill him a couple times, and he shows that she can't get to him and stuff like that. And then we're talking about his big speech. Like, I want to say before I let you guys go, I love Jonathan Majors' performance in this. It was a different version of Kang, which I've never seen before in cartoons or comic books. But I think they gave him the area to play, and he just had a wonderful time. And I haven't seen Lovecraft, so I didn't really know a lot about Jonathan Majors. Don't shake your head, guys. But I like him now, so I got to go back and watch Lovecraft. Just because of Loki, now I got to watch Lovecraft and whatnot. So I thought he did great. I know it wasn't like this high action scene, but I thought the 30 minutes was all great. The conversation, him showing his background, how he got to be who he was I loved it and whatnot. I think the dialogue is the best part of Loki throughout the whole series, honestly. So, but what do you guys think of it? The whole back and forth, man. Go ahead.
Quick. It was trash. I was like, man, this was. I said to my wife, I said, man, well, guess the Game of Thrones season finale wasn't this bad. Yeah, it was bad, man. You had this show. Again, I didn't know who the hell he was. So maybe if I knew that, I'd have been like, oh, snap. But I didn't know who he was. So I was just like, yo, first of all, who is this dude? Well, I guess he was the main dude at the end, right? I didn't think he was Kang. And I'm like, all right, so we know who the main dude is behind the TVA. and he's just being silly and jumping on the table, and they're trying to kill him, but they can't kill him. And he explained that there's a bunch of him, and if you kill me, but I thought you couldn't kill him. But then he said, well, this is the moment where it branched off, so I guess now I don't know. And
what's that point called?
But let me ask you this though, real quick, Anthony, before I let you guys go.
I want to make
I think knowing that this is just the start of the multiverse for the entire Phase 4 is what made it so significant.
I mean, it would.
I think you're thinking about. Hold on, I think you're thinking about it on just like this show finale, like boom.
Yes,
but it's
so
more about.
So hear me out. Hear me out. I always say this. I judge a movie or a show or something on itself. I always say that's you and me is different.
Yeah.
You'll be like, yo, that was so amazing because 3 years from now it's gonna make this movie awesome. Like I always say this: if I'm on a flight for 2 hours and I could watch one thing or play one game, what would it be? So would I watch this episode if I had a 1 hour flight, or will I watch which episode would I watch? It damn sure wouldn't be this one because nothing happened. So that's what I'm saying. You know,
a lot happened.
Can I just say that I was agreeing with you maybe 5 minutes ago when you were like, oh yeah, you could totally watch these movies and not do anything. And just now you just prove me wrong. I switched sides.
Listen, episode.
Let me say this. The reason why you did not know that this was a good episode is because you did not know anything about what was happening, so you were confused. Which brings me back to the point of you have to know things.
So here's the thing. I wasn't confused. I literally got what it was telling me. Now you guys watch all the spoiler and all this other stuff. So all I got was, and again, you know what? They never said his name. I ain't hear Kang. I ain't see Kang.
His name is He Who Remains. That is his name.
Did that ever come up in Marvel Universe yet?
No, listen.
Yes.
In
what movie?
In the comics.
Where? No. In the MCU. This is connected to the MCU, right?
No, he's just some guy named He Who Remains, which is your perspective.
So,
yes.
Okay, so I watched this episode. They show He Who whatever. They show Voldemort. So Voldemort shows, and so I'm like, all right, cool, but he's silly. He's not even like threatening. I want you guys to take our. So for me, watching the season finale without knowing that eventually. I don't even know what year. I guess they do have a timeline, but wherever year Kang's going to be introduced. For me, for the season finale of a show that was pretty good, you could have still had him in it, but had something else. It's like I said, when they didn't make the hope, like Endgame would have got a 10 for me, right? But you have a character that's a big deal. You could use him, right? But you didn't. So you got Kang. You could have had a scene showing another universe where he was doing something amazing, or you could have made some great scene with I don't know another character or something.
So Tony, did you listen to his dialogue? Were you paying attention when he was talking?
Because he said a lot.
He said a lot. A lot happened.
Even if you didn't know he was Kang, you should have been able to, with context, understand that he was the most powerful
version of them, because he's keeping all the other ones who are already.
Hold on, stop. He got killed. How was he the most powerful version?
He allowed her to kill.
Yes.
No, he said he no longer had the ability to predict the future.
But he told her. He told them before that, Anthony. He told them before that you have two choices: either kill me or take this over yourself.
And he didn't know at some point what was going to happen. He didn't know what their choice was going to turn out to be. Now, what is that point called? He picks up a stone and drops it like he's checking dimensional something. And he's like, hey, we're at this point. I don't know what's going to happen next. That's when Loki started fighting because she was going to kill him.
Yeah.
Now, why did he not know what was going to happen? Now,
there's a time ran out. It ran out. It was the end of time already. He didn't know what was going to happen.
The time
didn't know anything past that point.
Correct. So here's my theory. Okay.
Go ahead.
I think that he who shall remain or is remained, whatever, he sent what's her name back in time to meet him as a younger person before all this stuff. They're going to have a relationship. They're going to have a relationship. And that's why Kang's face is there when Loki gets pushed through, because Kang is a different Kang. He may be a variant of this Kang, but whatever. She's going to influence him in some way.
Ravonna.
That's why his face is there, I think.
I was wondering where did she go? That's a good theory, actually.
I think they're going to have a relationship because she says, I'm in search of free will. There's only one man with free will, and that's the man that just died, and the loop starts over again. I think she stepped through a door and maybe goes back to Egypt. Shit, I don't know. She's going to go back and talk to this guy and change the way the TVA was made or whatever, or the decisions that were made about don't tell them their variants, make the timekeepers, like an illusion or whatever. Maybe these things have changed with her going back. Just
after she beat up Mobius
very easily, by the way, for a second time.
Very easily.
For a second time. But Dave, real quick before I get to Josh, I know some of Josh's thoughts, but what do you think about just the dialogue between Loki and the Lokis and King?
It was so informative. He literally spelled out who he is, how he's there. He exists outside of time. So when you think somebody's millions of years old, they don't have to be strong, super anything. And I think this Loki was the only one that was willing to kill him, Sylvie. He knew that she was the only one that was willing to kill him because he said it. He was like, I'm tired, buddy. He was like, I want out. This is a young man's game.
Yeah.
You need to be hungry.
He needs to be hungry. I think Ravonna is instrumental in giving birth to his line. That's gonna make his line. That's why I think he pruned her and put her in charge. And I think that file that Miss Minutes gave, who, by the way, I gotta say this, I cut out before, but Miss Minutes scared the shit out of me when she popped up. All right, so
I was wondering about that.
That was the illest jump scare. I was like, oh, I don't jump often for stuff, but yeah. But I think that file that she gave Ravonna was like a letter from him, letting him know you have to go do this in order for me to be born, in order for you to be here, in order for you to blah blah blah. And that's going to be like her mission, and I guess Loki's mission in season 2 is finding out where she went.
So did they prune her in 2018 when they showed she was a principal of school?
Yeah.
Had her for thousands of years, though?
But what was her? That's the thing. See, I want to know I want to know what the Nexus event was. What was her Nexus event?
So apparently, in one of the Easter eggs, they were saying it happened right after the
it was after the snap. Yeah, it was after the snap. It was post snap.
They had like posters on the wall and stuff of like cult drives and stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the theories that I saw was like she traded her life for somebody who was snapped away, or she was about to get snapped away, and she decided like she did something. She made a deal that she went to the TVA, she could fix her timeline, something along those lines. They were saying.
But you got to remember, with Kang being the creator of the TVA, he's basically directly influencing his own timeline there.
Well, he also loves her too, right? So that's wifey.
Again, there's precedent in the comics for it, but she's also an enemy of him in the comics.
She's both,
She's both. She's both, yeah.
She's both, or her variant, one of her variants.
It's her. It's her on both. He puts her in charge of his city, and then he betrays her or something like that.
Kang has fought all the other Kangs and all the other variations. I'm sure one of
not all of them. Not all of them. He used a life to kill most of them.
Okay. Well,
he said it.
I assume because of course he trusted her and sent her that information. That's why I think she's being sent back to him. And it's going to change their relationship going forward. And the next season, I think they're going to have wherever Loki's at. One of the two. Either Loki is actually there to experience an evil Kang and come back, or literally things have changed in that loop because she was allowed to go back and interfere or whatever. He's basically giving his younger self a message somehow. Sort of, if you look at it that way.
All right. Well, let me get Josh here. He's been quiet the whole time. So, Josh, your thoughts on the conversation back and forth and Ravonna and some of your disappointments in the finale and whatnot.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I have to say the range of Jonathan Majors is exceptional. And I only know that because you got shout out Chloe's mom who told us to watch Lovecraft Country on HBO Max. And just understanding his range in that content, it lets me know exactly where he's going to go for Kang. And you should be very afraid of where he can go as a vicious Kang. That's going to terrify some people. Number one. Number two, as everyone is alluding to, and I totally agree, very informative because it lays the foundation for phase 4 and 5. Like this is key because after our boy Tony Stark Sr. passed away, it's like, okay, where is the Marvel Cinematic Universe going to go? And this gives a great foundation to, like a launch pad to spring into something else, because we already have, beings in the galaxy who understand these concepts. So we have like the Guardians, we have Thor. So I think that they're going to play a major aspect of this. And of course, we have Ant-Man, and then we have Spider-Man, and then we have Miles Morales. So Tony, it's going to be I think a great adventure for the next 4 or 5 years. Because I was worried a little bit. I was like, what are you guys going to do? And then Chadwick Boseman passed away. I'm like, what are you going to do with T'Challa? What are you going to do with Black Panther? So I'm still a little worried, but I feel a lot better seeing that you have a big bad who is not only complex, but complex across multiple dimensions and reality. Because talking about parallel universes, we've got 4 dimension, 5th dimension is very cool scientific stuff. But in terms of Renslayer, I haven't heard those theories. Those sound very interesting. I like that, Will. I like that, Chloe. So we'll see what happens. But I do think she's not aware of who she's communicating with yet. And I think Miss Minutes is that buffer. She's it's like she showed up at the right time, right before, even though he didn't know what was going to happen. She showed up right when he was about to die, which is interesting. So one of the main reasons I was disappointed in the finale, as I made the video about, was mainly because of Loki. So for me, this TVA version of Loki is neutered, in my opinion. He's not the true Loki, because for me, part of being Loki is being the smartest person in the room. And in that room, he was not.
Well, I feel like Loki always
can't
be the smartest person in the room.
If you're in a room with Kang, you're most likely not the smartest person in the room.
Right.
Straight up. I mean,
I get that. I'm talking in terms of him and Sylvie. For me, it's the relationship between him and Sylvie, because he knows damn well that Sylvie is going to kill him no matter what. So when we hear the thunder and Kang is like, oh, we've crossed the threshold, I don't know what's going to happen. That's because in her mind, Sylvie made up her mind, you know what, I'm going to kill you no matter what. You're doing too much.
Exactly.
And that's why, when he sent, what's her name? He sent her a message through Miss Minutes. It's almost like that's an insurance policy, because he doesn't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
He knows that these 2 people are worthy. I don't know what their choice is going to be. And just in case, I'm going to send you some information. That's why I kind of think that somehow she's going back in time somehow, or the loop, whatever.
Exactly.
It gets confusing.
Real quick, Matt said in the chat, he said, why did he laugh and say, see you soon? He said, what did he say his fears were?
Oh, well, because
what did he say he fears?
Because another variant of him is coming out. That's going to see you soon. It's going to be more and more. Like it's just going to be different Kangs, but still Kang. That's why he told Sylvie, I'll see you soon.
Well, that was actually a callback. If you on episode 5, I thought you guys caught this. If you guys watched like the after stuff. After she cut the Timekeeper's head off, right, you could hear somebody whisper,
it says see you soon. Yeah,
and this was like a callback because he winked at her when he said it. He's like, hey, that was me, by the way. That was me leading you here.
Yes, I paved the road. You just walked down it.
Exactly, because he wanted to die.
And that conversation was so good.
He's at the end of his time there. Maybe she found out that he's out of time now. Now he's back wherever he wants to go, and that's where Ravonna went to. If she's truly in love with him, she want to go find him now.
Yeah. But Josh, finish your disappointment. I want to hear finish Josh.
Yeah, and to me, Loki is too passive because he knows exactly what Sylvie's going to do. So even he lets his emotions get involved. They kiss, and as soon as they kiss, you know what's going to happen. She gets closer to Kang, so she's striking distance. So I was just like, "Come on, Loki." Number 1, number 2, and number 3. I think he's one of the best strategists in the MCU. He always has a plan, and he's always 3 steps ahead of everybody, right? So for me, I feel like you should again, and I'm okay with him having this positive story arc. He's not necessarily evil. He's not necessarily sinister in his planning. So I'm like, okay, but you still got to be Loki. You still need to have a plan. And for me, the plan would have been to take over before Sylvie had an opportunity to kill him. Be like, yeah, I accept. Something like that.
I think what worries me is it's almost, or it felt like this. If you really listen to the way Kang talks and the way that opening was this black hole and then it goes into the other, I worry about all the stuff we've invested in and all the stuff we've watched. Like the rug was yanked out from underneath us in a sense that like maybe Thanos isn't even important. maybe the MCU that we've seen so far doesn't mean shit. Like all the stuff the Avengers did doesn't actually mean what we thought it did.
Well,
Those
you know
are the
what?
concerns that I have.
You know what, Will? Hold on. You know what, Will? I almost feel like the show started off trying to tell us that.
Yeah.
Right now we can see it by the Infinity Stones meaning nothing in their world. They probably was trying to tell us, because I was going to ask you guys, do you think where we're going is going to be better than what we've seen? But I think they're trying to set the tone that so you could always compare things if they're like, let's say they're in the same realm, right? Like if I'm the fastest runner, but I'm in the same race, like, oh, I'm faster than you. But if I'm the fastest runner in this race over here and you're the fastest runner in the race over there, I mean, you can compare us, but we're in different races. We don't know what would have happened. So I think they're trying to tell us, like, hey, don't even worry about what you've seen before, right? Stop comparing. Like me, is he going to be more menaced than Thanos? Maybe this is a way to say, bro, don't even worry about that.
I agree with you, Anthony. I think that's what they did from the very first episode when they showed you that the Infinity Stones were paperweights. Yeah. It was letting you know, like, we're past the Infinity Saga. Right. Like, this no longer means anything to us anymore.
Overall, the message is anything is possible, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Chloe, what'd you feel about what Josh was saying about when she kissed him? Like, you think Loki should have been smarter about that? Did you see it coming? She would double cross him?
I think that they're the same person at different times, right? So I think the old Loki would have noticed it, and she represents his past self before he made the choices he made to understand to get to the elevation that he's at now. Kind of parallel to like King the Conqueror, right? So the king that we met, or he who remains, is the most elevated form of king. So I think the Loki that we're following is going to become the most elevated form of Loki, right? But Sylvie, she's still in the past. She still hasn't gotten to that because she hasn't gone through that journey like the other Loki did to get to that elevation point. So she
said that to her.
Mistakes. And so
with your theory though, what happens to Loki? Does he go back to his own, like after he's evolved and he becomes this different or better version of himself? Do you think he goes back to the MCU timeline in any way?
So for me, I think that he makes decisions based on how they need to be made in his new present form. So like it's growth, right? So like once you grow, you can't really go back because you've already experienced things. So after this experience and Sylvie sees the damage that she's done, she's going to become a version of herself that she could never go back to this old version of herself because she knows the consequences. So I think that Sylvie and Loki represent the same person at the same time in different points of their lives, which is setting us up for watching King the Conqueror come in and fight different versions of himself. Because if you remember, He Who Remains, he battled all the other versions and he won. So technically, he's the most menacing and the most powerful, even though he's appearing to be docile. So I think the Loki is appearing to be docile, and we'll see eventually, like, wow, like we know he's not. We know he's the top one because he beat everybody out. But if you just see him like Tony, like if you just see him, you're like, who's this guy? He's corny, he's whack. But in reality, like he's the top dude. Like he's been there, done that. He has all the knowledge. He's just tired. So I think that Sylvie played on that because she was able to manipulate Loki, and he could have done things differently, but I think he's a little bit reserved now, or he's thinking about all the outcomes, because the old Loki would have been like, nah, we don't trust him. He would have made the same decision, I feel like, that Sylvie made. But I think that was just like an illustration of their two different places on the timeline.
Well, I think the old Loki, I think Loki wants to be a ruler so bad, I think he would have took the deal. I feel like Loki is the guy that he wants to rule. And I don't think given the deal, listen, you can kill me or you can rule. He'd be like, wait, I get to rule everything. I feel like that's always his destiny, is to be like, I told you so. I'm the great ruler. And he just never gets that. So I think he would have took that deal.
I think that was going to be the end of season 1, of him being tempted with that and see his growth. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, to see if he would refuse it or not. I think that was originally the ending. But somehow they brought Kang in.
Right. Well, real quick, guys, Sierra Rose gave a good question. She said, this is awesome. She said, what is one thing you were hoping to see in the season finale but didn't get to see?
Let's start with you, Anthony,
That
since
is
you
a
got the
good
biggest
question.
problem with it.
Thank you. It would have been nice to have like a cool. Listen, I
If
told
the
you,
Hulk,
me personally, Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme is the perfect beginning to end of a movie, right? Not that it's a perfect movie, but I like the good guy meets the bad guy, lose to the bad guy, then somehow has to get better enough to beat the bad guy and have what's called a climactic clash. This has no climactic clash. I mean, I get like, for me, I just felt like at least gave me like some epic. Like I'm looking down at Kang. Like I get it. There's gonna be the badder version. If you kill me, then the worst version of me gonna be there. But I needed some type of substance. Like, when I was so into the Falcon and Winter Soldier starting off, I was like, dude, they started this song. So that to me, out of all of these, could have been a movie, right? The Falcon Winter Soldier. They did a lot of, again, for me, because I'm the simpleton that just want that blockbuster, right? So again, the question was asked to us, right? So I would have loved to have some type of serious interaction with Kang and them to feel like I got this climactic clash and not just a 30-minute dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like dialogue, but
you don't know the character well enough to understand what he was saying to them was extremely frightening.
Well, in addition to that, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. It's exactly like the Wizard of Oz.
The man behind the curtain.
The man behind the curtain, like, at the end of the Wizard of Oz, it was not this big, bad, crazy person. It was like a little tiny man and behind a curtain. Like, that was literally what this season was.
Yep.
Behind the curtain.
And what he's telling you is be careful because anything could step out.
I get that, but I would have loved to see when he got killed. Maybe it would have been if the directing was different or the center. Like, I would have loved to see a battle between them, right? And and he actually got killed because she was real cunning. Like, okay, couldn't predict. Like, I love where it was going. Like, he kept teleporting, so they couldn't get him. I was like, damn, how they gonna beat this dude, right? And then he was like, I don't know what you're gonna do. And then it's like, all right, we ain't even trying to kill you now, even though you don't know what I'm gonna do. And then eventually, just that, like, come on, man.
You know how Anthony, you've been saying that even with Falcon and Winter Soldier or other WandaVision, whoever, that watching them has made you appreciate some of the lesser movies more. Mm-hmm. So I think that moving forward, like, as you see what happens, you'll appreciate this finale more.
I'm sure
what happens. But
you know
what? I
what?
also want to say this. We got to keep remembering it was a season finale, not series finale.
Right.
So a lot of times season finales are always cliffhangers. And I think what happened was the other two shows only going to have one season. So they were series finales. So it's a little different when you're setting up for a second season. And I think that's kind of like...
it still was a whack finale, whether you call it season or series.
Well, a lot of times season finale, they don't give you much because they got to keep going for the next series. They got to keep going for the next season,
well,
next season.
Anthony, let me play devil's advocate for just a second. So if the writers have been very great this whole series, I think, so far. And I don't think that they missed that. I think that it was an opportunity not taken. Because instead of him like showing you the fake representations of the other Kangs and the universes and the worlds that he showed, if it would have showed a backflash to him fighting a very powerful, awesome, menacing Kang, that would have satisfied you, but it
I'm saying I would have liked them to have a fight with him. Now, we didn't even. I would have loved to see, like, when she just killed them because he allowed her, right? But I would have loved to see like some type of like really cool fight, like for the action guy and me. Yeah, Loki and them fought each other, but it was like, dude, I want the villain. He's the guy that we finally made it to, right?
Right, but if you do that in season 1, then what do you have in season 2?
He died anyway. What do you mean?
But basically, it didn't matter
because he died.
No, he died.
Right?
He died. Yes, but this is only the beginning of his story. That's why they left that thread so bare.
So it's still the same. So listen. So it's still the same. So yeah, that variant died, right? But it's still the same looking guy, right? It looked the same. So we see them fight in season 1. Like, are they gonna fight again in season 2? Fight in season 3?
No, because you knew because he told you it was a more powerful version of him.
Hold on,
right?
Anthony,
but it's still the same looking guy. So you still see two people fighting the same guy in every season. So why would you not save that for later seasons?
Would you think a guy that you cut his head off and he walks out from like behind a phone booth? Would you think he's powerful?
Hold on, what?
Like if say you kill one Kang, another one just pops up behind you. Like,
right?
Would you think that's powerful? Because that's pretty much what he is now. Now that he has, I guess, all these variants.
I think you guys, it's different Kangs, right? So if I cut again, that's why I love I love to talk the power stuff, right? Narrative. If I cut Dave's head off, and Dave hit the ground, his head came off, and his head grew back, then that's still Dave. But if I cut Dave's head off and Dave is done, and then another Dave walk out, well, I didn't kill you yet. Now I'm gonna try to kill. So I'm not giving the Dave head that I just cut off that powerful.
Now, when it comes to variants, we are only a sum of our parts and our baggage, and baggage is experiences over time that we've collected and everything. So all the baggage that I've got is going to be different than the variant of me.
Yeah.
So we are technically different people.
Yeah, definitely.
But to your own point, Anthony, if it is different versions, which it is, this version was not a fighter. So they waited to get to the fighter version and other seasons.
He's fighting. Did you understand? Like, did you miss the part where he just said he wants to he's surrendering himself?
Right, he's tired.
He's tired. He's tired. So this version of Kang is like, yo, take me. I'm
but
for me to peace out.
If that was the case, when they first tried to kill him, he kept teleporting. Just get killed then.
No,
he wasn't teleporting. That already happened. He was existing outside of time.
He knew what they was gonna do, so he didn't allow himself to get killed.
In the future,
to the end when he just said, "All right."
Spots, yes.
All I'm saying is, for the directors, for me to satisfy me, again, I didn't get it right, so it's fine. I'm cool, but for me, I would have had like them try to kill him and stuff, and it would have been like a cool, like again, he was still moving anyway, right? When she was trying to get him, and they were trying to get him, I would have had some cool little fight scene where they just couldn't get him, and then and just satisfy me. Give me that. Yo, that was epic.
So you didn't like the Loki Sylvie fight scene instead?
The what?
The Loki
Sylvie fight scene? For me, they're both on the same team. Like I want to fight the main dude. He
was never actually fighting. He was avoiding them. He was never actually trying to fight them.
And Anthony's like, where is the blockbuster ending to this? And they sat down and talked at a desk. I get what he's saying. The conversation meant something deep to me, so it affected me, but it didn't affect Anthony.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's almost like to me that like if they fought Thanos and like Guardians of the Galaxy when they first showed Thanos like in real life, right? They gotta wait to fight physically the big bad and whatnot. You can't fight him too early, or it's not gonna make as much of an impact when you fight him later and whatnot.
They killed him. She killed him.
But you're seeing the end.
But they didn't fight him
of his story. You're seeing the end and the beginning of his story.
Yeah. This is the beginning of Kang's story. Yeah.
Correct.
Listen, man, you guys don't have to bend me to your will. It was trash, and I'm saying it was trash. All right, whether you like to hear it or not, and I'm glad that's why it's a bunch of different people on here. But that was trash. My wife and I, we watched it. We was like, what? And you said how I fell asleep in the movies. I had to keep rewatching it. Again, I watched it really late. I don't blame shows when I fall asleep. Mike, you tried to do that to Black Widow, but Black Widow wasn't terrible because I fell asleep. I was just tired as hell. But I kept falling asleep on this, but I kept rewinding it to finish it. But
I watched it and theorized for like 3 hours afterwards. So there's a big difference there.
I think you're the only person who, like you said, you didn't know, so you didn't have that oh shit moment like the rest of the world.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I
didn't. I don't like that. You know what? It's too much spoilers out there, and I don't. I used to be into that stuff, and then again, I'm a big wrestling fan. I would spoil something that no one told me was going to happen, but I heard the rumors, right? I would watch a match, and the match, they'll be like, oh, this guy is coming out. And the match will happen like, yo, that guy never came out. I'm like, well, I mean, first of all, WWE, Vince McMahon never said he's coming out. You listed some dude on YouTube say that was going to happen. Now you're upset, and you call him saying the match sucked. And I'm like, damn, that is true. So I got tired of being disappointed because I'm listening to people on YouTube, and I was like, you know what? I need to stop doing that because it's messing up the actual thing that I'm watching. So same thing, the Marvel thing. I don't want to hear some fan thing and it never happened. And then how mad would I be if like, yo, the theory was they was gonna have this big epic fight and they didn't. Like, bro, you watched a YouTube.
But you're still gaining tertiary knowledge though. You're still gaining knowledge from why this.
Yeah, we didn't get bonered.
Yeah. Perfect example.
I mean, we didn't. We actually got Kang, just not the Kang you wanted to see. But
I mean, I didn't though. I didn't really care
story.
about seeing Kang yet anyway. I just wanted to see him unfold in a good way. And I'm sure the movies will still do that anyway.
Speaking of that, okay, so let's move forward. So, I mean, do you think he might not show up again until season 2, until Ant-Man or other movies?
Well, he's the villain of Ant-Man. He's got to show up. You can't.
Well, that's 2023, right?
Yeah.
But there's several movies before then. Though. So
here's the question:
he's gonna be in every movie.
Maybe little background movements.
Okay. I think it's gonna be him in every single movie. Jonathan Majors did the smartest thing he could do.
That'd be different.
Nobody ever plays a character like that keeps responding as different people. So his range of
acting, Flash,
like
Flash,
Josh,
that Harrison Wells on the Flash.
Okay,
the same thing. He plays 100 different versions of himself. It's like watching Kang, but a cornier version.
Okay,
well, very true.
Jonathan Majors did his thing with that after losing Lovecraft Country, and like Josh said, I think we're gonna get to see like a different range of him. But like, can I answer the question he asked really quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Flo.
One thing I wanted to see that I didn't see was I wanted to see more Mobiuses. Apparently there's like, so I thought they were going to show enough like all the Mobiuses, or how do I say that? The multiple Mobiuses. The Mobius. Mobiuses. So because they showed like Renslayer and like how she came from the high school. They touched on that a little bit. So I was like, oh, they never
show his background Mobius.
Yeah, they didn't show him.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
So that's one thing I missed. I wanted to see out of this, but I think that'll be next season finale.
Do you think there's a reason?
That's the thing. I do feel like well, I'll let you go. Go ahead, say this.
Well, answer Sierra's question though. Everybody. Me and Chloe did. But what didn't you get? Is there something you didn't get in the season finale that you would have wanted?
Yeah, explanation on everyone's Nexus events. I wanted to know. I wanted to know what Ravonna did. I wanted to know what Mobius did. I wanted to know what B-15 did, what Casey did. I wanted to see like little slivers, even if it's a 5-second clip of them doing it. I wanted to see it.
Do we think those Nexus events are even true though? Because we found out a lot of the stuff the TVA was bullshit.
Well, how is he picking them though? But how is he picking these people though? Like Kang created it, so he would have to pick them. So yeah, I think
it's true.
He took whoever was responsible for that version of Kang coming into existence.
Yeah, I think it is true. Yeah.
What about you, Josh?
For me, I would have preferred Loki be more action oriented in the final fight scene as opposed to passive. He kind of was a passenger to Sylvie's will. And as Chloe alluded to, since he is the more elevated version of Loki compared to Sylvie in this iteration, I expect him to take charge in that situation. So something like that doesn't happen, because as we're all alluding to, and Tony is eventually going to get to it into the movies, he literally said, I am the tamest version of everyone. So you would rather substitute Thanos for someone worse and still be a cog in the wheel. I would never make that decision. I don't think original Loki would ever make that decision. He would side with that person and then have his own will afterwards, because again, he's a survivor.
Yep. I would say I would have liked to have seen Loki not give up his power, because he did give up his power in that last thing to try to convince her rather than make his own choice. He kind of.
What do you mean? What do you mean give up his power?
He was submissive.
Yeah, I mean, he was manipulated by her instead of making
power
a decision.
Of love, bro.
He was given. He was. Both of them were given a decision to make.
It was those feminine walls.
He decided not to make one. He was saying, "Hey, let's think about it. Let's think about it." He wasn't making a decision, and I think what Josh is alluding to is that Loki would have made his decision.
Yeah, of course. The old Loki.
Matt said. He said worse, not more powerful. So he's saying,
yeah.
And I think that's a very philosophical approach, as we know.
Same power level, worse intentions.
Right, exactly. It's just how you use the.
By the way, Chloe's gonna have me going back watching Spider-Man Into the Multiverse now, because now that she brought that up, that's our first view of the multiverse. I want to see if there's any TVA shit going on in there. Yeah. now I gotta go back and watch.
It's a great movie either way. So go watch it.
It is, man. Oh, awesome movie.
For me, I'm just would have liked to see Mobius on the jet ski. Like that's about it for me. I think for me, I think knowing even ahead of time there was going to be a season 2, I didn't expect as much of Epic's season finale because again, it's not a series finale. So I expect more to be shown in later seasons because that's how you do a show and whatnot. So I expect.
And Sierra Rose answers her question. She said jet ski.
Yeah, I'm a jet ski person too and whatnot. But yeah, so and so why do you think Will Stadia about like their minds being wiped? Like I guess Mobius and B-15 when they got there, you think that was just
it's easier to control people. You wipe their mind, it's just easier to control them. You give them the narrative of their whole life and story, and they don't complain.
There's a bunch of
stuff. The whole problem with the whole TVA and this whole shit unraveling was people started questioning shit.
Correct. And I think that is why Kang's face is on that damn statue at the end.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it different this time. Maybe it's a totally different Kang, but I tend to think he's just like, hey, you fucked up. Do it different. You know, I mean, kind
of. Kang, extra strength. Extra strength Kang.
That's true, because he said see you soon. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's how he perfected the TVA because he just kept living it over and over. Like, nope. Next time we do this, we're going to do it like this and try to see what happens. Oh, nope.
There was also an equation when Loki and her are sitting down. There was an equation on the chalkboard that was circled. I cannot zoom in enough to like make it out. But it's got to be something. You don't just put something like that there and not have it think. Not have it like.
It's probably have to do with string theory. So we'll see. And I'm actually curious to see where they leave off Sylvie at the beginning of the next season. Like what?
Yes,
I was actually going to bring that up.
I think she's going to work in the TVA.
Nah,
I think the variable that ends up going to be Kang's comeuppings is going to be free will.
I don't think she's a Loki, yo.
Just like at the end when he's like, "Oh, I don't know what's going to happen next." He was truly like, "Woo, what are you guys going to do?" You know, this is the only shit he doesn't know. So he was kind of giddy to see what was going to transpire, and then he had his what do you want to call it? His insurance policy run off and do what they were going to do because he didn't know what was going to happen. So if he knows the TVA has to exist, maybe it's starting a new loop. I don't know. It's very interesting, but I just pray that it doesn't take away from all the adventures and the characters and the character development we've already got. Like,
I don't know, man.
Sorry. The last 3 words she said to Loki were, "I'm not you."
She did.
That threw me because I was like, if you're not, all of them, they all refer to themselves as which one of us are you? Which one of us are you? That thing's a Loki. The fact that she told him right before she doing the door, "I'm not you," made me think that's not Loki at all.
Yeah. I didn't look at it that deep. I just looked at it as like, you know, I'm not you. I wouldn't make the same choice as you.
Yeah,
like,
I think her life.
You don't want to take.
Her
logic different. You would take the deal and settle. No, I got to take this to the end and kill.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Which makes them different.
If you were after them a Loki, if you were after them your whole life, and they're right in front of you, man, and this is the person or the people that you need to take down so that you can have, have a free life. And somebody said, hey, just take 2 minutes. 2, let's discuss it. Let's just discuss it. Would you say, "Oh no, man, we got to kill him now," or would you take what? 2 minutes?
I think I love what she did. I feel like they. So listen, I feel like they followed her character through. She from day one wanted to kill the
timekeeper.
The timekeepers, right? So she found out, and she got to cut a timekeeper head off. Found out that wasn't the timekeeper. Guess what? My mission is to kill. Then who's behind the timekeeper? So I feel like they followed her character through the way they should have. She shouldn't have taken 2 minutes.
But
let me talk. No, I'm here to kill them, and nothing ever changed since day one. I never deviated.
2 minutes just didn't seem. It seemed rational. Let's talk for 2 minutes.
Right.
Loki didn't say, "I refuse to let you kill this man." He just said, "Hey, let's talk about it."
No, and she's like, "Hell no."
You know what, though? There. Her life has been just on the run from a kid from the TVA, hiding in Nexus events. Right. So I don't think her. I mean, yes, she is a Loki. I still feel like Dave, but I don't think her thought process is the same because she hasn't experienced nothing but being on the run her whole life.
Yeah, so she lived in apocalypses.
Right.
They're the same being, but they don't act the same. Right.
They have different.
And I think that like.
Parts.
her when he was saying like, if you kill me, more going to come out. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Right.
I don't
And
care
that
about
could be a lie. And
Right.
you could be lying. You could be bluffing, so I won't kill you.
Right.
At that point, I don't think she cared if he was lying.
She couldn't think. She doesn't think. She couldn't think ahead because her experience is not that way. I feel like Loki though have had different experiences on Asgard, even Thor 1 at that point up to Avengers, where his thought process was different than hers, and she was just like on rage and revenge alone and whatnot, and she didn't care what he was talking about. Honestly, she wanted to kill him the whole time. The whole time he was talking, she wasn't hearing nothing he was saying. She only wanted to kill him the whole time.
She was just like, I made it, and it's going down.
Now, when here's a question for you guys for the panel before we're done. When Mobius discovered that event that started to go up like straight up, it was almost a permanent new timeline or whatever. When they didn't kiss, but they were really close on that planet, and it started to happen. And he said, "Hey, I think this could be the key to taking this whole shit down." Do you guys still feel that way, that it may possibly be a way of taking that down? Because they did kiss, but they were outside of time when they were there. So that wouldn't have caused some kind of big, because it was outside of time.
What do you think, Chloe?
I think
that went away.
I think that showed that they were the two who could make it to the end to kill him. So technically Mobius was right? Because they made it to the end of time to kill. So like them together was the only way that they could get to him. And King knew that because he knew it was going to happen. He saw everything. He even saw when they were doing that unlimited. He knew everything was going to happen.
Right.
And then they alluded to, I remember they were saying remember how he was saying I've replayed this scenario millions of times. And this is the only, that Doctor Strange said that too. And so he basically ran the numbers, and math is math. You know what I'm saying? So he already knew what was about to go down. I don't think anything would have changed it. And like you said, I like what you said, Will, about how he had insurance policy in place, so it didn't even matter if she killed him. Right. He just knew that he would have to do it all over again, because that's just the time. The timeline's in the loop. Usually, we're used to timelines just going straight. A loop means reincarnation or just a do-over. Yep. Like Groundhog Day. On Groundhog Day, he woke up, he knew each day was going to be the same, but he did different things and eventually had different outcomes. So I think it's going to be similar to that. But one thing I had a question about was how did Loki remember everything when the timeline changed and everyone else there appeared to not remember stuff?
Because when it changed, he was outside of time. When they crossed that threshold
into that timeline.
When they crossed that threshold, he retained all those memories from there.
And she used his timekeeper piece to make the door pop open. That was very different than the time pads everyone else was using. She could have sent him to a parallel universe without knowing it. She could have, but in my opinion, though, he did go back to the original TVA he came from. But that TVA has changed now because of what she did. I think. Or we'll find out it is an alternate universe, another one where Kang is in charge. It's a different TVA, and he's going to see how much of a monster Kang can be if he's released onto the multiverse. Just opinions, or observations. Guesses.
Does she remember? Because part of me feels like Sylvie's not even going to remember what she did, and she's going to do it all over again.
Well, she's outside of time, I guess, because she's unaffected. So Loki and her were both out of time. So
she wasn't in the same place where Loki was when he woke up, or when he got pushed through. Where was she at?
She's still at the Citadel, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, she was.
So she sat down on the
stay there.
Yeah, she sat down and started to contemplate what she had done, watching all the branches come together.
Wait a second. So do you guys think that she's going to be the new timekeeper?
I think she's going to be the villain of season 2.
I think he's going to have to make a tough choice at the end to kill her.
Yeah, because
she has to.
Timekeeper. If she stayed there and she put him back in the timeline, she's outside of time. She killed the actual timekeeper.
Right.
So she
never told him no. I don't take the job.
I thought the blade through the gut made the decision.
Or he might have to go back in time to kill her before she decides to kill that Kang.
But
I mean,
she,
what's
What
to
I-
stop
what
her
I-
from
what I-
sitting down?
What
And
I
just
what I
taking the
didn't
job.
understand, what I didn't understand was why, if she's so smart, she could have took the job, went back and undid her own kidnapping.
She's not that smart. I don't feel like she's that smart. Me personally, I'm just.
She, like,
She's a
I think
but
Mike
she's supposed
said
to be
it
a
best.
Loki.
I think
Well,
I think
she should
Mike
have
said
took
it.
be a
2
Loki,
minutes and
right?
thought about it.
I think
Maybe
Mike
should've
said it best.
Go ahead,
She's
Anthony.
filled with no. I think you said it best. She's filled with rage and revenge. You know, so she's not comprehending like the typical Loki. Oh, you know, I'm a trickster. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this so I could get more. She just want revenge.
I
you know?
don't think so. I think it's two birds, one stone. She killed him. She got rid of the other Loki, and now she's the leader. So not only did she kill him, but now she gets to control it. Because
So you think she was thinking ahead then?
yes, her whole motivation. Remember from the beginning, her motivation was like she didn't want other people to go through what she went through, right? Like, I'm an innocent child. They took me and proved me. He's like, you're not all that good either. So
Right.
at the end, she in her head, she like, all right, well, we're gonna dismantle this whole system, but I know best because I was a variant one, so maybe I can do it better. So I think that she took the option he offered her, killed him, got rid of the other Loki, and now she can rule by herself. Because she never.
Well, I think that's out of order. She got rid of the. So you're making it like she knew, hey, let me get rid of the other Loki. Like remember, she had to get rid of the other Loki in order to kill him. It's the other way around because he was stopping her from killing him. So I don't think in her head she was like, oh. I think it's more what Mike said. I think she was just filled with rage and revenge.
I get that, and I get it, but it's two birds, one stone. If I kill the leader, if me and you in a room and you control the thing, and I demolish
them
it.
So here's the
power.
thing.
So she is right, though. In that sense, she is right. The guy at the end of time, he did offer them both the power. You both can be in charge.
Yeah, but let's
run it anywhere you want.
I think she just wanted to kill him. Now it's like she just wanted to kill him. Now that he's dead, it's like, damn, now what do I do? I might as well be the ruler. But I don't think she was like, I'm gonna kill him and be the ruler. I think she was just like, I don't care what you're saying, I'm gonna kill you. And that
was the end of her mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
She sat down like what? She had that sit down after she killed him. Like, what do I do now?
Right.
She becomes the timekeepers.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think she planned on killing him.
Jump in there. What do you think, bro?
Oh, I think it's like one of those things. It's kind of like Bruce Almighty, where you think it's easy to be God in this sense, and which is Kang's role per se in the MCU, essentially in terms of time. And from Sylvie's perspective, she has that self-righteousness, and probably authentically so, because she was an innocent child who was robbed of her life. So we get that, we empathize with that, we sympathize with that. And she's going to trying to rule from this perspective if Chloe's theory is correct, which it probably could be, right? However, it's going to be a lot harder because when you have the different decisions making and time branching off in different ways, it's not as black and white as we think. There's going to be a little convergence. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Awesome.
I think real quick that, and I'm going to do this off the topic, but my small theory is that the Eternals, when they talk about we were in the shadows until now, I think this is the event that brings them out the shadows.
Ooh.
It
would certainly.
So you think Kang's going to be their villain also?
No. But I think the timeline is messed up, so it brings them out the shadows. So whatever's going to happen on Earth brings them out. Not Kang, but whatever's going to happen now. I'm saying, or whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be everybody's villain. I mean, because again, I think like Mike was saying to me is like, so, and if we had a big fight now, then you're gonna have a big fight again. So I feel like that's a good point. So why would he be the villain in every Marvel movie?
Ain't nobody trying to see Avengers Kang 9.
But they were saying that Kang was fighting himself, and when they did the thing, they didn't say he was fighting anybody else. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, but based on like the context they gave us, is that they're going to be Kangs battling each other, and then the Avengers or whoever are going to pick which side they need to be on to win, and then it's going to be another battle, and then he's going to have to use people to win, and that's just what it's going to. It took so they can get back the original one that they knew, and Loki knows who that one is.
That's a cool.
My thing is that like I guess like since all the all the branches, all the timelines are messed up. Are the movies moving forward? Not with Kang as the villain, but all the actions in the movies now happening because the timelines are messed up. So even like Shang-Chi, Eternals, all the movies coming out, like would these things have happened without the timelines being messed up? So I think that's
it all depends on that individual movie and what time they add it, right? Because I think they're going to be clever. And again, it's a big deal for me to put the main bad in the show, right? So, but it all depends on, it's like you and me, Mike, we were talking about Black Widow, how it was supposed to come out when it came out. So technically we would have seen the lady at the end of that before we seen her in the show, right? So it all depends on when they decide what the timeline, like is Shang-Chi supposed to be before this happened, or does it even matter? So that we don't know yet, you know.
I think
I don't want to be watching the Eternals and be wondering what's happening in another universe and not worrying about what's happening on the screen. I guess that's my worry.
Can I say one thing? I didn't want to go into a whole big thing, but what Will is saying, personally, I'm annoyed by the movies that I watch, and then at the very end, it ends. You like the whole thing was a dream. I'm like, damn, I just pretty much seen nothing. So it's kind of like when Mike and John. I never forget this. Years ago, Mike and Josh went on and on and on an episode of their old podcast where at the Inception, did it spin or did it not spin? They went on. It was the funniest thing. But that's I think what Pro is saying. I personally. I know the multiverse, this verse. I feel like, well, then what's the real? Like, does it even matter that I watch this because the regular?
But that's I mean, I get your point, but that is the multiverse is phase 4, bro. Everything happening, like the Doctor Strange is literally called Multiverse of Madness or whatever, like that. Like, and so I mean, I don't know, but I think that the fact that the Eternals has been dormant for thousands of years, now all of a sudden they're coming out. I think it would make sense that this is the event that not seeing Kang, but this event makes them come out for some reason and whatnot. So
I can't wait for it.
Me personally, and then of course you got him in Ant-Man, then of course Loki season 2. So I just wonder, like you said, he can't be the big bad in every movie, but how much they're going to sprinkle him in, here and there.
I think Doctor Strange is the one to be watching out for. That's really going to set the stage moving forward. I think.
And No Way Home. No Way Home is gonna open like the gateway, and then Multiverse of Madness is where they're gonna straighten everything out.
Well, I'm guessing these branches are like colliding into one another, and that's how we're gonna get a Sam Raimi villain. And I don't know. It could be
on episode 6 when they did the pull away, showing all the branches. Bottom right corner, there's a big red glowing area. It's the only red glowing area on the map. I'm thinking that's Wanda's area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
what Chloe said earlier.
And that's how she's hearing her sons, because now it's overlapping on it. Yeah, it's overlapping on it. So I mean,
so y'all think Shang-Chi going to be independent of it all, like the next one coming out?
Yeah, Shang-Chi should be. They may give him the treatment like Black Widow and put the after scene with something else, But there's no stones to introduce or anything like that. So no, I think it's going to be more of a standalone deal. Maybe have her grab a villain like Abomination.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Right.
Like,
All right, well, let's wrap it up, man. Loki season 1. What would you guys rate it? I guess on 1 to 10. I guess
10.
Anybody accept?
10 because of the changes that it's making to the MCU. It's got to be a 10. This is cataclysmic. We went to 23 movies, right? And no shows and 23 movies to get to somebody destroying the universe. Now millions of universes can be destroyed. Like it's
my only thing with that, Dave. My only thing with that is I think we all liked what we seen, right? What they did so far with the MCU with 23 movies, right? But we don't know if we're gonna like where we're going. So you're giving this movie a 10 based off of what haven't happened yet. That's the only thing I don't like to do that, because imagine if the next MCU you're like, yo, everything they did was wrong.
I'm going by what I saw too. The acting, the screenplay,
okay, but that's fine.
Everything is top notch. The musical score, like we brought up earlier, dude, it was like one of the best musically scored shows I've heard so far. Okay. So the writing, and the implications, man, all of that factors in to me.
Chloe, what do you say? How would you rate it?
Y'all know it's a 10 for me.
Okay.
Honestly, like I'm a big context person. Like I was even telling Josh about that yesterday. Like I need to see exactly what's going on, and I like the fact that they're showing us like this whole other part of of what we thought we knew. We really don't know, and it's like unveiling everything. And like they unveiled a lot in only 6 episodes. Like what are we gonna find out now? Like what are they gonna show the movie? What's gonna come out now? And I'd agree with Dave. Like I am a fan of things giving me context and then branching off because now they've opened up so much. And honestly, I just loved it. I love Loki. I think Loki's my favorite out of next to Black Panther. Just saying.
Wow.
Yo, you think Agatha was referencing Kang when she said, "You're gonna need me"?
No. Hold on, Dave. You're going off the rails.
Sorry.
Josh.
Because now I got me thinking about all these shows. But go ahead.
Josh, how would you rate it, man? 1 to 10, bro.
I would rate it an 8.
Okay. All right.
I think it was solid. I want to see what they do next in season 2, and see if if it's going to be just a 2-season show. Are they going to try and stretch it to 5, kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, what are they going to do? Is Loki going to be that character who can go in and out? Because he's shifty like that. He's the god of mischief. Can go in and out of TV series and in the movies. I think that'll be very interesting to see where they can go.
That'd be cool.
Will?
I'll give it a 9. I think it could have been a 9.5 if the last episode of the season had a little more action in it. But I love this, man. The writing is fantastic. I like the direction. I worry just a little bit about it, but I think that we have fantastic places to go and even more fantastic things to see. So I'd say a 9.
All right, and Anthony, man, waiting for yours. Tony, what you got?
Give it a nice 7. I give it a 7.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I give it a 7. I think it was cool. Me personally, sorry guys, I'm not a big on Loki. Loki's like the bumbling idiot kind of sort of to me. Like he always want to dethrone Thor, but he just can't. So I feel like they always downplayed him. They're bringing him up now, but I feel like my view of Loki was always like this moron. But now it's like, oh, they're trying to make it like, dude, he's not the moron. Like just because he can't never beat Thor or get over. But anyway, yeah, I think the show was good. I think the show had I love action. It had some good action. I like a good beginning and a good ending. I feel like the ending wasn't good, so it definitely lost some points. And I'm not the biggest fan of Loki as a character. So the show was good for me. I think to see that it probably would have got a 6, but I got to give it another point because they actually showed who's gonna, a main villain was introduced in a show.
6.
That's a big deal for me. Yeah, I think it was cool. But again, like most of what you've seen, like, did it really happen? That bothers me, right? So I wonder how much I'm gonna like where Marvel is going, because since it's, the multiverse is like, you got this person from this dimension, but it's not my regular dimension. What I'm saying? Like,
that's the entire. I mean, not to cut you off, but that's the entire comics. It's all multiverses and different dimensions and different Earths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Miguel, I'm sorry, Miguel, and I'm sorry, Tony, but Loki not being a major character, he's literally the person who brought the Avengers together. There would be no Avengers without Loki.
In the comics,
Mobius told him it's your job to make people better versions of themselves. That's what your job is. I hear you guys
say that, but Loki. Okay, so you play a video game, right? There's the main bad guy, and there's like the henchman. Loki is a henchman because at the end of the day, even what happened in Avengers, it was still a bigger person to him because he got beat at the end, and they revealed that it was Thanos out there. So he's
if you think about it, but if you think about it, Thanos was just a Titan until he got his hands on the gauntlet.
If you think about it,
but he still was the guy in charge. Though. He still was above.
But he wasn't okay.
But he wasn't always in charge.
He wasn't a bumbling idiot in the Avengers. Like Loki was a legit villain in the Avengers, or whatever, like that. Like Loki. Like I don't know the last time you watched the Avengers movie, but I watched it recently. I'm like, it's a reason why Loki's still around now. Because he was so legit he broke him up, he had them fighting each other. Like Loki was legit, but
yeah, I mean,
it's hard to wrap your mind around. Thanos was allowed to do the snap, not because Thanos was going to do it. He was allowed to do it. The Avengers time traveled, not because they decided, hey, we got to stop Thanos, because they were allowed to. They wouldn't have done the TVA could have popped in at any minit and been like,
oh you're still going on TV.
Kang the Conqueror could have came.
I mean,
like,
yes.
It shows how powerful he is. You keep saying Thanos, but Kang the Conqueror, the one who let Thanos do everything he could do. They could have
allowed it.
Like, it's funny because you're saying now they're doing this for Loki. I thought Loki in the Avengers, like Josh was saying. I like that Loki. Like that was
and that's the one who we got in the TVA. But
and so here's my thing. Like, I hear you guys, but hand to hand, like he's coming up these great schemes. He got an army behind him. But what happened when he met up with the Hulk? He got trashed.
Well,
so I'm just saying,
what about Ragnarok though?
Now who trashed the Hulk? Who trashed the Hulk? Thanos. That's just, you know what I'm saying? There's levels to this.
So you're more about hand-to-hand villains than
I'm just more about like I'm that when I said menacing, I'm like, the Hulk was like, bro, I'm not fighting.
Yeah.
I got trashed.
You know what? It's the reason why he likes Bane more than the Joker. So I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
give him
that. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you ask each person what the rate is.
I know.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but I just, that's just me. I've always been into like, the power level more. Like,
why is it a 6 again? Give me just 3 reasons why.
Okay, one, it's about Loki, and Loki to me isn't a great character. Okay. 2, it had a really bad ending, right? The finale was pretty poor. And 3, I mean, I don't even think I need more. Loki, I'm not that into, and the ending wasn't that good. I mean,
he went from a 10. It went from a 10 to a 6 because you don't like Loki. And
no, I never gave it a 10. What do you mean?
You gave it 7.
I'm saying theoretically, you gave it a 6. So
right.
You took points off. So it went from 10.
I was gonna give it a 6, but I gave it an extra point.
So if you didn't ever like Loki at all, then he never had a chance to get a 10.
Bro, I never. You guys are going. I'm like Loki. You got the whole Marvel universe, and people like Loki. I'm like, wow.
Yes,
a god.
Yes.
I mean,
Loki.
Only a couple of those running around.
Bro, he's like he's the wackest god.
Go back and watch Avengers 1 when you get a chance, bro.
Bro, who did he beat up in Avengers 1? Let me know.
Oh my god,
bro!
Name it. Say it right now.
He broke up the Avengers. Like,
Loki
he killed Coulson.
Himself.
He did so much.
It's like thank you. He took Coulson up.
Tony, just because you got muscles don't mean you strong, bro.
Listen, that's why the Incredible
muscle too.
Superhero.
Everybody, muscle too.
There's people who love the Joker and say he's the best villain. I'm like, what? But that's on them. That's cool for them. But,
Well, in my opinion, what they did with Loki is they gave us our Loki back. Meaning the one who got his neck broke, he went through these things and he had changed and he actually loved his brother. He didn't want, bad things to happen to his civilization, all these things. And we lost him because his neck got snapped. Yeah. Now this Loki poofs out with the Tesseract. And guess what? They catch him up to speed to get him to where the other Loki was.
They will.
So I can't wait.
Who snapped his neck?
Thanos. I get it.
Oh.
But what I'm interested in is I would love to see this Loki interact with Thor.
Yeah.
Again. I would love to see that.
He has to show up in Thor.
He has to. At some version or some variant. I don't know.
I hope so.
He has to show up Thor 4. I said that last week.
We did get that character back. The writing and the character development and the character arc in this season was so fabulous. We did get that Loki back.
Yeah. So Mike.
In a sense. Yeah.
Mike. What do you rate?
Something what Will just said, I'm gonna have to go with a 10 as well. It's like Dave and Chloe. I just think the writing was so great in this series. The stuff you don't like, the dialogue is what sucked me in. Even the stuff between Mobius and Loki in the first 2 episodes in that room, like that's what kind of got me from the beginning. And I just felt like that. It's action movies everywhere you watch, right? Everything we do. I like when they show, like the fact they show something different than just like the shoot 'em up, bang bang. I think that was part of the reason, part of Black Widow that's bringing it down, because it didn't have as much great writing and great dialogue, right? And I felt like that it wasn't really thought provoking at all. It was like a cookie cutter mustache twirling villain. Right?
Black Widow, first of all, is late, and second of all, she's already dead. It served no purpose to a point. It was just
that part of it
backstory, but she's not even alive anymore. So maybe to push Elena, but Black Widow, I feel like it really served nothing. It was like,
I actually agree with Ant on that, man. Yeah, Black Widow's the worst Marvel movie. Period.
I think you should.
Dark
I
World.
think it would have been better if they did it chronologically, like it was between Civil War and Infinity War. I think we would appreciate it more, and her death would have meant more as well.
Yep,
I agree, 100%.
And so, as an action movie, because it's pretty much a spy movie, it was decent.
Yeah, it's a great spy movie.
Yeah, so if we just, again, like I said, we could give credit for something that's not happened yet, right? So for that, it was bad, right? But as a standalone movie, I mean, I went to the movies again the very next day. I went and seen the last hour and a half of it just to catch up and be able to say, hey,
wait. You went to the movies twice to see that movie?
Yeah, because I fell asleep. I fell asleep from the end.
You fell asleep with the end.
Yeah, I can't not see the movie.
Tony, I'm gonna give you one of these.
No, wait a minute. Can I hold on? Stop. I said I fell asleep on Loki up more times than that. Yo, I kept dozing off, waking up, rewinding. I was like, damn.
Tony, Loki's at home, bro. Like you took your body, went in the car, went to a ticket booth, gave you a ticket.
I'll tell you this: if I get tired,
that's
I don't
dedication.
care if I come to your house.
That's
I don't care if I go to Will's kitchen. I don't care if at Mike's car. If I get tired, I'm falling asleep.
Say he laid his trick money down, let him do what he wants.
Oh,
you know?
I can
He told me he was going back the next day. I was like, okay.
It ain't tricking if you got it, right, Tony? It ain't tricking if you got it, right?
No, I got the movie pass.
He got the limited pass. So
yeah, what are you talking about?
It ain't tricking if you got it. You feel me? It's like you're good. You could go see that trash movie twice.
That AC put you to sleep, didn't it?
We'll do a Black Widow review, and actually, E-Money just texted me. He wants to be a part of it, so we can all talk about it later.
Nice.
My point on Black Widow was that the action was there, but it missed the same type of dialogue that Loki had, same type of writing, even the score, and even
here's the thing, though. I feel like Black Widow didn't have it to give, right? Like, I don't even know why they made this movie later on, right? Knowing what happened. So the reason why you love Loki is because it's pushing something forward. Black Widow just doesn't have that to do. So you have to take it as a good standalone movie, right? Yeah. Which most of you guys want this movie you like stuff to push other stuff, right? So whereas I just want that it itself, right? So Black Widow was just a decent action movie.
Well, something that bothered me in Black Widow was the stakes. At any moment, you're like, I know where she dies. This ain't it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just saying.
Exactly. But I was
more growing in chronological.
That's the thing.
But even as an action movie, though, like you can still have good writing, even if it's not part of the MCU or whatever.
I mean, I think so. Here again, that's why I bring up Cyborg, right? So here's good writing. A really good hero, right? Whether you like them, they're powerful, they're not, they're cunning. Then the really good bad guy, like how can you even beat the bad guy? And then you put a really good story in between to build up to the meat and have a climactic clash. Black Widow, it was again, our minds can't not help that she's not alive anymore. We can say all we want, but we know we would have to be hypnotized that what happened didn't happen to really give this movie a good try. But we can't undo what you know what I'm saying?
I disagree. Yeah. I disagree with that completely. Like I didn't even care that she died. I knew she was going to be dead in the movie, and it wasn't because I knew she was going to die. It was other things, and I think Mike hit it on the head where he's talking about there was no thought-provoking moments in there was no really interesting moments. It was just like action. And then if it's an action movie with no dialogue, she's gonna die. So it's like, it's not even as exciting because it's all action. But if there was
you went back to she's gonna die.
Because there was dialogue in it, it gave more context to her character. I think that I would have liked it more.
The Red Captain America stole the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Red Guardian,
Yes, Red Guardian. He was the best part of the movie.
Nah. Florence Pugh was the best.
I was about to say I can't think Elena was.
Yeah, Florence Pugh carried this whole.
Well, I will say this too. Like I love her. Like her character was really good. Like I wonder what's her accent like. What's her?
She's English. She's English.
No, in real life.
Oh, it's English.
She's English.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, all right, I was curious. She was doing a pretty good job.
Remember, she played Paige from the WWE in that movie. That same lady who played.
Oh, damn! I didn't realize that was her.
That was her. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's why he liked it.
I didn't know that. Oh, Mike maybe because I didn't know that was her.
I liked it. His subconscious said, "Give this a 10."
No, Mike wouldn't give Black Widow a 10.
We actually we did a spoiler-free review already though. It's on our channel actually for Black Widow, but coming out the movies. But yeah, so this I would give a 10. Looking forward to what they do with season 2. Looking forward to see how it connects to everything. And to me, like Chloe said, it's my favorite. I'll just say that, but to me, it's the favorite show so far in the MCU. But I thought that after like episode 2 or whatever like that. So
Gotcha.
and we'll see what they do moving forward. And the thing of it is, I'm a little worried. I think What If will be good. As a mix in it. But then when they start to get to like the Hawkeye show and Miss Marvel, I'm a little afraid it can't stand up to these first 3 shows. But I guess we'll see when it comes out.
Hawkeye, especially.
It depends on how much intertwining it does. But I feel like everything. Here's what's hard. I love it because the stuff connects. But then I feel like if everything has to connect, it's going to have to connect well. And if it don't, then we're going to look down on it. So they might write themselves into a corner.
They can. And Miss Marvel's a teenage girl in New Jersey, right? So I'm like, is it really going to be as great to me, as the other shows and stuff like that? So I guess
you got to play the game, Mike.
I know who Miss Marvel is. I watched all the cartoons and comics stuff like that. I just don't know her story.
Think about it. She was a big deal in the game. She's the main character.
My question is, are they going to make her a mutant or an Inhuman? Because
Inhuman. She's an Inhuman.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. They haven't even introduced Inhumans yet. Are they going to use her to introduce Inhumans?
Well, in the game, they do it in the game.
They did it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They did it all in New Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but
yeah, I think they will make her Inhuman. Yeah, I think they will.
They're gonna have to do something. You can't give her a Spider-Man origin. That's just wrong.
I think the game is telling because the game that's where they make her at. So
she had an accident. You can't give it one of those. Like her said she was chosen for that. So yeah, I mean you can't mess with her origin, especially such a sensitive character. So a young teenage Muslim girl from New Jersey is headlining a TV show. You can't mess this up.
Yeah. And I think Spider-Man, speaking of, going to be the next like really, really huge event. And that comes out December. So that's next. But anyway, we'll keep this going and going and going. It's already been over 2 hours. So that's our Loki, man. Spoiler discussion. Appreciate everybody coming on.
Yeah.
Dave, Chloe, Josh, Will, man. Anybody wants to come on for the Black Widow spoiler discussion? We'll probably do that next week sometime. Feel free to do so, and of course, keep bringing you guys more content. And I don't know when Josh plans on doing his mental theater again, but the next time you let us know, we should be free for that. So let's keep it moving. Like that.
And now, Josh, I could watch your mental theater. I was like, dude, I can't watch it because I don't know. Because again, I watched Loki late, but I'm like, all right, I can't watch it because, again, we always talk about energy. So I'm like, I know we're going to do this show, and I can't watch it before I do the show because I don't know what it's going to do to me. And Chloe liked to put out everything the internet done said, so,
Yeah. Any last thoughts on the MCU or Loki at all, guys?
I'm excited. I'm excited for Ant-Man and season 2. I can't wait.
Yeah, I've known Dave for many years. I never knew he was so big in comic book stuff, man. So I'm happy to have him on as usual.
Well, I used to go back and forth with you about Batman at the job all the time.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I used to say shit on Batman, but
yeah.
Whoa.
I used to beat Dave in Marvel vs. Capcom on our lunch break in the.
If Dave don't like Batman, then Dave's my dude.
Yo, Batman is not a superhero. He is just the world's best cop.
Yo, Dave.
Detective.
Dave, my guy.
Same shit. They both put cuffs on you, take you to
I've been
jail.
trying to tell Josh.
But is he a hero though?
Yo, regular dudes give him work on a regular basis for 50 plus years.
Do you remember in the movie he had to change his suit because he got attacked by a dog? That's the only reason why they upgraded his suit.
I've never seen a superhero have so many regular powered villains. Like I could beat up Edward Nygma in a one-on-one fight.
But yet he can take out the whole. But yet he's beat the whole Justice League itself, including Superman.
That's why I don't like Batman.
They just do that. That's why I don't like Batman.
They be like, you know what? What's impossible? Let's make Batman do it. Let's make Batman sit in Metron's chair.
They just do that because Batman.
Let's make Batman beat Darkseid with a fucking special.
Listen, they do that because they do that because listen, they do that because Batman's popular, so they want to keep him relevant by making him do the unbelievable stuff. Because if not, eventually people are like, yo, Batman really sucks if you think about it. Like, you know what? You're right. No, we gotta make him do something.
The same thing as Tony Stark. Batman.
Oh, don't do that.
See, Tony Stark.
Don't do that.
The same thing. They're the same people in two different universes.
The current version of Tony Stark, no. The current version has a computer inside his body.
Yeah, but guess what? Batman, all he gotta do is upgrade his technology. He got enough money.
But he hasn't.
Yeah, because he likes vintage things.
Listen,
But you know what?
Iron Man-
Name. Hold up, Chloe. Name one of Iron Man's villains that ain't got no powers.
Well, okay, Superman was Batman's villain at one point, and he's
that's not true.
That makes Superman worse. That makes Superman worse than Batman because you can't beat up
Justin Hammer has no powers. He's one of Iron Man's villain or whatever like that.
Oh, so he's not a battle you out villain.
And what about Armin Zola?
That goes arrest him. That's Lex Luthor. Justin Hammer's like Lex Luthor.
What about Zola? What about Zola?
Zola was in a head in a robot. He actually had a robot body. So
Zemo
has no power. Yeah, that's true.
Zemo has no power, but he's more.
Listen, and
we just start talking about Black Widow. What?
Exactly.
Anthony said it though. Ant said that though.
She's more unbelievable.
You can't expect much from Black Widow because she has no power.
She shouldn't be injured.
She's just a great Russian spy.
First of all, the stuff she did in this movie, I'm like, what she got superstar on now? Like, it was ridiculous. I'm like,
what? A backflip?
I said that. I was like, there's nothing special about her. That's why I never liked Black Widow because I'm like, what did she do? She's nobody. How's she beating up gods and stuff? Like,
I don't like Batman.
And on top of that,
yes, because Batman has a suit and he has gear.
How does the villain in Black Widow? How does the villain in Black Widow soup up his daughter to make her all this super shit, but don't do that to all the spies?
Exactly.
Hey,
what kind of villain is you?
Why didn't he have stupid? Why didn't he have 30 Taskmasters?
Thank you. I could have had 100 Taskmasters.
I only have one.
By the way, we're talking about this last night. We're probably going to see a bunch of Black Widows popping up, kind of like the Dharma Milaje, and I feel like they're going to join forces at one point in the MCU.
I agree with that as well.
That's actually possible. Yeah, that's possible. But I don't know any other. I don't know of any other widows other than Yelena and Natasha in the comics.
All the ones that escaped.
I'm talking about, like the Dora Milaje.
Oh yeah, going forward, yeah.
Oh yeah, the ones that are still out there trying to get clear. Yeah,
Mike, this is what happened when you asked if we got any last thoughts of the whole MCU.
I'm up for. I wanted.
You didn't ask that. You didn't ask Loki. You said MCU.
So what's the MCU moving forward? But somehow we got on the Batman, and your hate for Batman. So I don't know how we got.
That was Dave that started it.
Sorry.
Found out somebody else hate Batman. You don't hate him as much as me. But I was like, I gotta jump on the hate Batman train.
I don't know about all that, bro.
Nah, bro.
I think I hate it worse than you, Ant.
Nah, you can't. It's impossible for you to hate Batman more than me. I literally ask my friends. I always say I'm the biggest Batman hater. That's my thing.
Tony, don't you like? I don't understand.
You know what? We could.
He likes Iron Man. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
You like Iron Man, but you don't like Batman.
No, Iron Man because Josh.
Iron Man's villains is dope.
Josh was the one that said, but he's the same thing as Iron Man. So Josh was the one that put Iron Man on my back. It made me have to defend Iron Man so hard.
You did that to me. You shipped his suit
I was never repping for Iron Man, but Josh did that to me. And then he started calling me Tony Stark Jr.
That's who you are, bro.
That's who I am. So don't put that on me, Chloe. Put that on Josh.
I'm just saying. You defending them now, so I don't know.
I had to. Josh,
that's right. You could be like, you know what? You're right. They're both the same. I don't like Iron Man.
I'm sure you played with Hawkeye and Widow on the
You know what's funny though? You know what's funny in the comics?
Look, see, I know you have.
No,
Hawkeye Widow was like my favorite character.
Throughout comics, Batman's more considered in line with Moon Knight than with Iron Man.
Yeah,
in the comics, Batman will
Moon Knight has special powers though, where Batman doesn't though.
Yeah.
Batman's a man in a bat suit, okay? And Iron Man is a man
who gets work from a 140-pound nerd. 140-pound nerd gave him
all he needs some vibranium and he lit.
He just can't. The Batman just can't get over beating up Edward Nygma or a dude in the cold suit.
Or Superman.
Or Superman. Well, he'll take out Superman, though, no problem. He'll take out Superman.
Now, when we're talking...
But that Joker, that right
guess what? He got money, though. He has a lot more money than everyone else.
I love Batman.
He fought for the same Joker gags every time he fight the Joker.
Hold up, Will, you said you love Batman?
Say, I love Batman. But when I saw Batman v Superman and Superman's floating above him and his eyes turn red, I'm like, oh, Batman's dead. He's dead.
Should have been.
The next second, he's going to get burned up. Nope, it didn't happen. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That was a little
Anyway, all right, guys, man. That's the end of our Loki review. And then with the Batman talk, we appreciate you guys watching. And, for that, we'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Big Mike.
Later.
Little Ant.
Out.
Out.